Uy, nice. Welcome, guys. So, as I was saying, this is our weekly Chill Newman, where with each bucket, we ask the world, bakit? Or why? Hence the name, Bucket nga. We'll probably switch between English and Filipino, so in case you miss something, don't understand something, just ask. Nandiyan naman yung chat or whatever. No pressure, ha? Nobody's an expert. We're all here to question stuff and have fun. For tonight's topic, as you can see, it is music and dance with our consistent co-hosts. We have Ultraelectromagnetic, or as we'll call him, Jego, here on my
Hola.
left, my diagonal, who was totally not almost super late today. Our very own hashtag Just John thing, so John. And our
Hi
first
guys.
timer, we have
Yay!
Fabs.
Hi!
Fabs. Fabs is a friend of Just
Dati
John things.
chatter lang ako.
Yeah, diba?
Ngayon,
Oo
dito
nga.
na ako.
In level of tayos in life, fun siya. Okay, so fun, diba? Yan. So, as usual, we start with the question, ano ba ang music? What is music? Oh. Ano ang music
You know,
is? You know,
you know,
music.
that sound nice.
Music.
Oh, so sounds
Pwede ko bang
something.
i-google? Joke lang.
Google.
says-
Googling right now.
Wait about, so if you think about it, we all know what music is. We'll say, oh, music yan. Ay, hindi yan music. Pero ano nga ba siya? Sounds lang ba siya? Does it have to be cohesive?
How do you? I mean, syempre there's a definition. Like
Yeah, but
it's a
what
like,
for
I can't-
you
I
as a
can't
person?
like yeah.
As a person. O, Jego, ikaw
For
muna.
me,
O,
music
si
is...
Emman.
Sige.
Is
Okay,
it
for me, music is... paano ba? Combination of sounds that make something pleasant. Parang ganun. Pleasant to my ears. Kasi diba parang music to my ears, ganyan. So, it doesn't necessarily have to have form or structure as long as it makes something pleasant sa pandinig ko. Music yun.
So yung podcast na to, music ba?
Sakto lang.
Ako lang.
Tips! Diba?
Sakto lang. The joke lang.
What is music?
Pero yeah, and usually, ano siya, for me specifically, need na may nag-harmonize na mga bagay-bagay. Parang gano'n.
Oh, sige, may harmonize.
Ganun siya for me.
Oh, sige, we'll go back to that. Oh, Jego,
Mm.
ikaw, what were you trying to say?
I've honestly never thought. I've never thought of that. Like what music is to me on a personal level. It's just parang you just know that something's music, diba?
Yeah.
Like you just feel it. Parang you just feel it, diba? You just feel it when you listen to it. No, you're listening to something and diba? There are those things that you recognize, yung mga those things they teach you in music class, yung rhythm, yung beat, ganun. Oh, ganun, diba?
Yeah.
That's something I don't think about. Like I don't have a personal definition or I can't parang hindi ko ma-express ano ang music to me. Pero I just feel it, you know.
Wow!
Diba?
Wow, feeler.
Pero like,
Feeling
no,
it.
Feeler.
so may feeler tayo, may harmonizer. Oh, Fabs, what's
Pero
music?
ayoko kasi pilitin.
Ah.
Ayoko kasi pilitin na magbigay ng ano, para magbigay ng definition. Or,
Reminder, Valentine's Day bukas. So kung huhugot na. Binibigay dyan na ayaw mong ipuwersa.
Valentine's Day, may ganun pala.
Pag
I thought it
feel
was
mo,
Attack on Titan Sunday.
it is Attack on Titan Sunday. Oh,
That's all I
Fabs.
need. Episode 69 of Attack on Titan tomorrow.
Talaga?
Uy,
Yeah.
ako music. I haven't really thought about it either. Initially, yung pumasok sa isip ko, it's something I dance to. Okay, more of dance talaga ako. Pero when John mentioned his definition na it's anything that sounds pleasant, that makes sense to me too. Kasi, ano ba? Unang pumasok sa isip ko kasi Italian language. So,
Oh, yeah.
I speak Italian pala. Fluent ako sa Italian. So, like, I decided to study that in the first place because it sounds so nice. It's so musical. And
Yeah.
whenever I speak it, parang sabi rin nila na, wow, napaka-sweet bigla ng boses ko, ganyan. So parang, oh, ano. So it's a bit of both definitions na I've never really thought about it. At the same time, oh, it sounds nice. At the same time, oh, it's something I dance to, ganyan.
Diba? Oh,
Oh, for our audience pala, Fabs is yun nga, fluent in Italian. She
she
studied
just said.
European language. Yun nga, sinabi nga niya. Hindi, context lang, sinabi lang niya na fluent siya. Hindi niya sinabi yung rason kung bakit.
Siya.
Yun yung
Inaral
pinag-aral.
ko. Inaral
Mm.
ko.
Hashtag just
Oy,
John
Kino!
Peaks. Diba? Pero ang galing sagot ni Fabs eh. Kasi, when you think about dance, very intricate siya with music. Kasi sabihin ba natin na, can you dance to all music?
I think so. Meron ng mga performances no walang music eh. And then you dance to it. Parang the music nasa head siya ng dancer. Parang when you see the movements, depende sa bawat tao kung anong naririnig nilang music in their mind. May mga ganong performance.
Gusto ko sobrang
So it's
cerebral.
possible.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
like, nakita niyo yung tweet na they're dancing to the theme song ng mga news channel. Mga TV Patrol, tapos magkasayaw sila.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
parang, in a way,
Nakita ko yun.
yeah,
Nakita ko yun.
music yun, dance yun.
Musical yan.
Mm.
Diba? Hindi ko natin iisip, pero you can. And it brings a question. So, lahat ba ng dance may music? Whether heard or thought.
Is
Lahat
all
ba ng dance may music?
Or lahat is all dance musical. Ibig sabihin.
pwede,
Is that what you're
oo.
saying?
Diba?
I think it depends on yung definition ng music.
And is all music danceable?
Hindi, sabi nga, yes.
I think all music is danceable if you think hard enough. It can be danceable, di ba?
Yeah, so if all music is danceable,
Oo.
is all
are all
are all
dances
dances
musical?
with music or musical?
Ako not necessarily, I feel like. I have no basis for this answer.
Yeah, feelings.
Tingin
Feelings
ko
lang.
oo.
Feelings lang.
I think so. I think so too.
Tingin ko oo, pero kasi not everyone can do it. Usually, mga ganun lang yung mga experienced dancers talaga. Yun. That's what I think.
Interesting. So, what about the experience? Di ba parang, so meron silang,
Ano bang definition nyo ng dance? Hindi natin define
sige,
yung dance.
sige.
I
Ano,
feel
what is
like.
dance? What is dance ba?
Kasi pag gumaganito ba ako, is this considered dancing na?
Pag the word
Movement
ako
lang ba siya
dyan,
ng body?
dance ba to?
Wave. I'm doing the wave. I'm dancing.
Dancing. I mean, gloving is a whole thing, and I would say that's dancing. Yung mga,
So, yung dance ba, do you need, parang is it movement in the beat of something? Not necessarily music. Parang, yeah, I mean, ikaw, Fabs, anong definition mo
I
ng
think
dance?
si
Bilang mas
Diego.
nasa dance.
Diego was saying something.
Go, Diego.
Parang you don't necessarily need to be moving to any beat or anything like that. Parang basically I think it's like any parang as long as you're making this parang deliberate set of movements, it can be considered a dance, no? Depending on, di ba, kung if that's if yun yung intention mo is to dance. Kung may, I don't know, I think it has to do with, I guess, intention and also yung deliberateness of it, no? But then pwede ka namang mag-dance spontaneously, no? Pero
Maski pops.
But
Yeah.
I don't think it necessarily needs to be. You don't need to have music playing for it to be a dance. I mean, it's like, I'm not a dancer, no. Pero when when you practice martial arts, no, I think a lot of parang it shares a lot. It shares a lot of elements with dance. No, so parang when a lot, especially ibang mga exercises like for flow, for form, no, it's, 'di ba? Sometimes it feels like dancing. Even though I can't, even though it's hard to define what dancing is. Parang yun nga, parang feel mo na parang this is like the parang the movements it feels like it feels like a dance. You know, parang ganon, 'di ba? So that's where I'm coming from. Kasi martial arts ako eh, hindi talagang dance. No, yung background ko.
I think it's interesting that you say that kasi I've attended a few dance classes na yung mga drills na pinapagawa sa amin related sa martial arts. Capoeira, boxing, yung main form niya. And yet, ginagamit namin siya in a dance context to help maintain our balance, rhythm, ganun. So, interesting. Kasi linked nga ang dance and martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
True. I mean, Jago, when I used to go to Arnis with you, usually cool down natin was silat. And silat was a form of dance talaga, according to Sir.
Yeah, well, yun nga, actually, yun nga, the thing is a lot of exercises. Yun nga, parang vice versa siya. Parang a lot of exercises sa martial arts are dance like in a sense. That, like the same way na parang there are exercises in dance that are based in martial arts. So yeah, connected talaga siya because it's because those build it builds or it trains yun nga rhythm, 'di ba? Rhythm and flow and things like that, no? Ang balance, syempre, mahalaga 'yan.
Because I can, like, the way to expand it in my head is when we talk about dance, there's also things like a mating dance, nature, where we see birds do, as Jago said, deliberate set of movements that we as humans call a dance, even if we don't know if they have a perception of music, they have a perception of beat, but they have movements. And I was thinking about it. Let's say kahit ako, when I'm seeing a patient, it's a dance because I have certain steps I have to go through. I have to react to like part of it is reacting to the patient, how to flow through it seamlessly, not have any mess ups along the way. And in my head, that's sort of a dance also with two people where the other one doesn't know the steps, but it's still deliberate and it's still uh, there's a flow. Parang way to explain it, but like the flow of it coming out of you.
The doctor's dance.
Doctor's dance. Like pag
The dance
nag-physical
of death.
exam, check the heart, check the pulses. It's a whole dance. Check the hands, blah, blah, blah. And it's,
Going back, 'cause I remember people saying na, hindi kasi ako dancer. Pero kung yung definition, I mean, kung yung agree upon natin na definition, it's a set of movements na deliberate, na may flow. Technically, lahat tayo dancer, parang
Or
gano'n.
are we human or are we
are we
dancer?
dancer?
Kaya di ba may expression na sabi parang, let's dance through life.
Dancing through
Mga sa dance
life.
through life na expression. Ganun.
Di ba kanta yan sa Wicked?
Yeah, I love that
Yes!
song. Woo!
Exactly!
More importantly, sabi
Exactly.
sa High School Musical, I don't dance. Tapos tanga ng dance number siya. O, diba? Ano yun?
We're all dancing through life.
We're dancing through.
Sir King's question, parang hindi mo kailangan ng music to dance. If that's our definition of
I guess, yeah. Because
Ano pa ba tayo?
if martial arts, wala namang music. Medicine, wala namang music.
Mm.
So dance is bigger than music.
Pero di ba, we established dun kanina na hindi kailangan naririnig mo yung music para sumayaw.
Pero walang set of sounds coming together eh. Diba? Like martial arts, wala namang sound in your head, walang sound coming out, walang sound produced.
yung sound ng clashing bodies, clashing
Pag
weapons.
sumisigaw ka, ganyan.
Oo. Diba? Diba?
Feb
Break the
14
wood.
po bukas.
Ah.
I don't know. So
Yung
you'd
ano,
say
yung
pag
mga
sisigaw
lyrics.
For
nila
it to be dance.
is music? Di-
For others, it might be. Kasi di ba, kung lumaki ka sa martial arts growing up, tapos lalo na kung kunyari taekwondo na may mga, I mean, hindi ako nagta-taekwondo, so baka mali-mali yung sinasabi ko, pero di ba, may mga shouts din sila. And sabay-sabay yun. So, could be.
Sa Arnis, umabot ka ba sa Bigay Tama?
Yeah. Yeah.
Di ba may ano? And that's kind of musical, actually. Kasi
Okay, yeah.
may beat yan eh.
Yeah,
Tsaka may rhythm.
tama naman. Well, to be fair, kasi in practice, like, the dances, you're getting the beat of the sticks clashing. So I guess that would be music. But like, if you go...
Kasi di ba, laging may ano rin yun? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Gawara lang kami marinig the beat na gano'n eh.
One.
Yung sa pag-punch left, right, left. So, may beats na rin.
May count pa rin siya.
May counts pa din siya.
O bakit medicine? Wala namang count yan.
I mean, pag
O, di ba? Tapos wala pa siyang... wala siyang sound. Hindi rin siya set order. Kasi,
Or kaya, stick with me. Stick with me.
Hey, are you okay?
hey, are you okay?
So, pero kasi ang slippery, I think kailangan natin ng mas concrete definition kasi kung ganun lang, everything is music, everything is dance.
Pero, di ba, yun rin ang concept ng 4 minutes 22 seconds. It's a silent piece because it's the music of the silence, of people being there, the rustling of the room. Diba? So everything's music, everything is dance. So dapat pala mga radio top 100
So are we willing to make that statement, parang claim that statement that yes, everything is music, everything is dance?
I think I think if you think hard enough, kaya.
Tingin ko pwede.
Inulusot mo naman siya eh, if you think hard enough, kung pilosopo ka enough.
Diba?
Yeah,
It is eh.
I think
Kung pilosopo ka enough.
Pero no, I think it's better to say. I think for me it's better to say na mga tao, people are musical, no, and people are dance-sical.
Dancesicle.
Hashtag
Dancers.
dancesicle.
Dancesicle.
Yeah.
Concept of music and dance are
Universal.
are part of being human, basically.
No, even animals. I say.
It's part of, yeah. Or yeah, it's universal. No, at least or for you and for kasi we know for sure that for humans it's universal. No? And for some we don't know in lahat ng animals ba lahat ng plants
Yeah.
pero for
For
humans
humans, yes.
for humans yun nga, music and dance is part of the human experience.
Mm.
Kaya we can find it everywhere, almost everywhere. No.
Kahit nga hindi mo naiintindihan what you are seeing and hearing, you can still appreciate it eh. Diba?
Yeah.
But I think iba yan sa everything is music and everything is dance. Because I think, I don't know. Then kasi kung ganun ang conclusion natin, what's the point? What is the point of having a discussion?
No.
Wala.
I guess the better way to phrase it is life is musical, life is dance. Kasi not just humans, but the way we choose to live life, the way we experience it. As far as you know, we don't know if dead people have a concept of it. So, parang not just being human, but life itself. Pag naghahanap tayo ng, di ba, kahit emosyon eh. If we don't know what to say, we don't know what to think. Music's there, it makes us move a bit, and it uplifts us, brings us down. So yung emotional range behind it is not just, it's something beyond humans, but it's experiencing life. But I guess the better question now would be, since we're saying not everything is music and dance, what isn't? Ano ang hindi dance? Hindi music?
Ano ang hindi?
Yung hindi music, yun nga yung hindi pleasant for you. na
It's just
arrangement
to
of
someone.
sound. So basically noise. Hindi ko alam kung handa ba akong sabihin na opposite ng music ay noise. Pero parang ganon. Kasi kung hindi siya pleasant to me, hindi siya music sa akin, parang ang pangit. Eh, ganon.
So may
Pero at the
tao,
same time, pag may kumakantang tao, tapos na flat siya o na sharp siya, tapos hindi siya pleasant sa akin, alam kong music pa rin yun. May mali lang. So parang, ewan ko, TBH,
diba?
di ba? Kinokontra ko rin yung sarili ko
Ano
as
ang
I'm
diferensya ng
saying it.
mali sa hindi? Yung mga tao, hindi natin gusto. Pero, di naman natin sinasabi, di sila music.
Yun nga, hindi naman porket hindi mo gusto,
Sila
hindi na siya
tao.
music.
Diba?
Ah,
May tao rin na
Saka
ganun.
subjective din yan, di ba? Per
Actually,
person.
alam mo, if we could wait a bit later, I mean, kung pwede tayong mag-move on with other topics, yung sister ko kasi and yung ano niya, boyfriend, ano sila, from UST Conservatory of Music.
Wow.
So, hindi ko
Wow.
alam kung handa silang sagutin yung tanong na yon. Pero,
Definitely.
Chill
tatanungin
naman.
ko sila
Ay,
pag
no.
pumunta sila dito.
Experts.
Oo,
Experts.
parang tatanungin sila, ate, what is music? All of a sudden.
Sabay is life music.
Ate, what is music? What is
It's life.
life without music?
Tapos
Bigla
wala
ako
pang isang
silang
bottle to.
babombarden. Pero
Magiging lecture na yan eh.
oo, baka biglang magkaroon ng music theory class dito bigla.
Wala na.
Actually,
First
kaya nga
bucket pa lang.
nabiglaan ako sa ano eh, sa unang part ng discussion, what is music, what is dance. I'm like, shit, music theory ata to.
Oo.
I don't know how to
Hindi
talk
ko
about it.
handa.
Grabe.
Hindi rin ako handa.
I wrote that kaya. Ang outline ng podcast, it's always define the thing. Why is that a thing? And then examples. So, diba? What is music?
Ang hirap eh.
That's why is
And I'm
music.
not gonna prepare for that.
Yeah, we don't prepare. We
Kasi
just
I'm
answer. Ang
Pero
tanong,
ano din, siguro I think what separates music for me, or I think dance in I mean, parang yung mga ganong aspect. Kaya ako siya nasa-separate from everyday life kasi for me, it's performance. May aspect siya of
Yeah.
performance.
Sa akin din, may aspect
Kasi
siya ng
ayun,
performance.
growing
In
up as in laking choir ako since bata ako. So exposed ako to performing talaga, kahit nga ayun, sa unang hirit, mga ganyan, kumakanta kami. Lagi sa akin yung music naka ano sa utak ko na performance siya. Parang may ganong aspect siya for me, ang music.
pwede.
Actually, interesting na you brought up yung ano, yung parang yung music and dance, parang there's a performance element, there's an artistic element to it. So parang imbis na parang music is everywhere around us, parang not everything is music, pero there are different things, pero all around us there are things that are musical, na parang they have parang properties of music, but they're not technically, it's not music in an artistic sense, no?
Mhm.
Parang ganon.
Medyo gets to where you're getting at. Totoo, medyo agree ako na everything is musical at technically pwede siya maging music if mag-grasp mo siya as music. But at the same time nga, may aspect lang sa akin talaga. Kasi I'm trying to think about how I perceive music. Kasi hindi ako dancer. Yun nga yung sunod kong tanong eh. Paano yung mga taong sinasabi hindi sila dancer? So kasi ako kino-consider ko yung sarili ko na hindi dancer. Like, I mean, hindi good dancer. Kasi kung kunyari may house music or sa party, tapos tumatalon-talon ka lang, tapos nag-ganong-ganong ka lang, feeling ko dance na yun. Pero hindi ako good dancer. So yun na lang sabihin ko. Hindi ako good dancer. Pero pagdating sa music or sa singing, yun nga, I consider it a performance. Even if kumakanta lang ako randomly sa kotse or nag-hum lang ako, for me, performance.
Oh, I agree. Like yung mga jumping jolog sa UP Fair, kasi UP Fair week naman, they're dancing. As much as they're just jumping around.
You be fair dapat this week, no?
UP Fair.
Sad.
So kung ganun, ang mangyayari, dance is a set of parang steps na you do rhythmically. Kasi so parang ganun, pasok doon yung good and bad dancers. Professional, non-professional.
Kailangan ng rhythm, hindi not necessarily music. Kasi
Oo.
diba kanina, we said earlier, dance doesn't need music, right?
Mm. Mhm.
Pero you propose na dapat may rhythm. So, not necessarily may music, basta may rhythm.
Oo.
I don't know. Para it goes back to both music and dance depend on this like wordless flow that just comes through to us. Na if music is sound and dance is movement, they're both dependent on this unspoken flow we experience. Parang kung sa psych,
Mhm.
it's when you're in the zone, it stops being something you're thinking about and something more you're just feeling or experiencing.
Kasi thinking din when you're performing, kasi you have a set of steps to do or you have as a measure to sing, ganyan. Hindi siya means, paano ba? Nag-iisip ka din it's not something flowing out of you.
Hindi, pero how about people who do freestyle?
Yun nga, yung inisip kaya rin ako nag-hesitate kasi alam kong may freestyle 'di ba? Pero
Oo,
kasi feeling ko kasi, I mean with dance, kahit na nag-freestyle ka, meron ka pa ring internal beat na sinusundan. Lagi namang may ganun kahit nag-freestyle ka.
Hindi. Or something like,
Hindi mo napapansin.
wala ka kanina, but if we started playing Love Story Taylor Swift version, it's not like I have an internalized thinking process for what steps to do. It's you're just moving with it. You're feeling it.
Yeah, but feeling ko, you're unaware, pero na-influence ka ng rhythm. For sure. I feel like, kasi feeling ko talaga may rhythm Feeling ko there's no such thing as no rhythm in
tingin
terms
ko
Yep.
of
rin. No
in
such
terms
But,
of
thing as no
dance.
rhythm.
but what is
Kasi
a
even if you're
rhythm?
just flowing, yung body mo, it naturally parang alam niya yung beat ng song. Kaya alam niya yon, hindi mo na siya iniisip, parang innate na siya sa'yo, pero there's rhythm.
But what is the rhythm? It's just your definition for moving at certain points in time. Diba? As Fabs was saying, kung freestyle ka na wala kang consistent, or like yung mga jazz can be free form. Hindi siya following a specific beat or a specific, but there's a flow.
Pero like, hindi. Pero when you say, I think when you say rhythm, it's basically hindi lang, it's not just parang may set kang fina-follow na beat. It's basically any set of parang any set of uh whether it's movements or whether it's movement or or notes. Basta it's basically it's a pattern. Pero a pattern doesn't have to be something that's like fixed. Parang ano
Yeah.
siya? Yeah, it's a set of elements. Parang ganon. That work together. Parang ganon. Diba? It
Tsaka
works.
hindi naman siya kailangan uniform pero set of
Yeah.
beats siya. Pero kasi sa isang musical piece, pwede namang magbago yung tempo niya. Hindi naman bawal yun. Hindi naman siya fixed all throughout the piece. Pwedeng nagbabago-bago yung tempo, nagbabago yung rhythm, ganyan. Kasi lalo na sa dance, kunyari, I think kung gusto mag-express ng emotion, depende sa emotion, nag-iiba rin yung rhythm. 'Di ba? Nag-iiba,
Mm.
hindi naman siya constant. Wala lang. Tapos, feeling ko lang, ano ba, hindi ko lang matanggap yung dance na walang rhythm for some odd reason.
Dance na walang
Just
rhythm.
John things, I guess.
Hashtag just John things. Drop it in chat, guys. Hashtag
Maybe we
just
could
John
agree that it's
things.
just John things. As a dancer, do you have
Tingin ko rin
parang,
talaga like if you're going to think about it in an artistic or entertainment manner, may rhythm talaga Pero music not necessarily kasi nagawa na nga yun na walang music.
Mm.
Pero we said nga that all music can be danced too eh. So kung may music na walang rhythm, may dance para doon.
May music ba na walang rhythm?
Our rhythm is, I think, really
Meron.
fine.
Ay, wala. Sorry, wait lang.
No,
Wala. I
wala,
feel like
wala.
wala rin.
Requirement ng
Wala.
element of
Hindi,
music
pero
yun
kasi
eh.
sinabi nga natin, everything is musical. Ay, sorry. Okay, everything is musical. Not necessarily music. Thank you for that definition, Diego. I think it is saving us
Oo.
from going to a loop of ganun kasi nga
Ganun
everything
yun
is
eh.
musical.
Mag-loop lang siya eh.
Everything is musical, but not necessarily everything is
Yeah.
music. Okay.
Not all, not
We
all.
have to remind ourselves of Diego's
Not yeah, kasi there are things yun nga, uh you can have things with rhythm pero parang there's a parang like like martial arts movements, 'di ba? Rhythmic 'yan. May rhythm 'yan kapag nagde-drill ka ng arnis. For example, arnis kami. So 'di ba yung exercises with with the sticks, 'di ba? With rhythm 'yan. No, pero I wouldn't call that music, 'di ba? Pero music, so it's yun nga, it's a musical element it's a musical element in something that is not music, 'di ba? For an example. Pero to have music, for it to be, 'di ba? To have music, kailangan may rhythm, 'di ba? Or things like that or yung mga ibang elements na
For me, yung pagka-clash ng mga armies, for me, I consider that music kasi may mga piyesa kami sa choir dati na isang section ng piece namin na puro ano lang kami ng mga sticks. Yun lang yung part ng piyesa namin na collision lang ng mga sticks. Tapos yun. May rhythm siya and music siya. So wala lang.
Or
I
punta
mean,
lang kayo sa CHA, 'di ba? Yung mga UP drummers pag nagpa-practice sila.
Oo nga. Pero kasi well, totoo. Music din yun.
I think it goes back to yung parang the idea of it being a performance or it being parang may intent, 'di ba?
Yeah. Kasi sa music ko,
Like yung
it's a choir
part, for
performing.
example, oo. So
Yeah,
for
with
example,
the intent to
you're
perform
using
music.
you're using the sound of the sticks as part of a performance. Parang it's a way to parang kapag nagde-drill ka lang, no? And
Hindi yun yung intent mo.
I can tell the difference. Because like
Yeah.
if people parang if you for example uh implement say a drill parang I know people do that, 'di ba? Like in theater din nag-implement sila ng mga, 'di ba, minsan arnis drills into a musical performance. Music 'yan. Pero iba 'yan from like when you're just there sa for example sa Vanguard third floor, which is where we uh where we train, 'di ba? You're there and people are doing the drills, 'di ba? It's rhythmic pero parang hindi siya music kasi it's not parang if
Ang
you're watching
intent
it
to
pero
create music.
yung intent to create music, the emotions really aren't there, 'di ba?
Yeah, the intent is to practice. It just so happened na may narinig kang uniform sounds.
Oo.
Parang
Nagiging music siya when you make it parang in a sense it becomes when it is part of a or parang it is done or performed in a way that is how do you say it? In a way that is more musical parang ganun.
Parang,
or to stress the musical aspect of it,
Yeah.
parang ganun.
parang
To
it's
bring it or to bring
elevating
it
it.
out. Yun nga. To elevate yung musical element niya into a performance.
Yeah,
Or
because if we think
something
about
like
it,
Yeah.
ang tinikling is two sticks clashing against each other.
Mm.
It's two big sticks. And yet we'd say that is music, that is dance. I mean, that's everyone knows that. You could watch it and feel the rhythm hit you. And we could have the same pattern of hits in Arnis, but it's not like we'll be flowing as a performance with it.
Yeah.
Diba?
Pero ang naisip ko lang, it might not be music for the people doing it kasi hindi yun yung intent nila. Kaya hindi nila na-perceive as music yun. But if there's someone who is totally unaware that it's not, alam mo yun, that it's not, that it is an artist practice, it just so happen that it's creating that sound. For other people passing by, pwedeng maging music yun for them. Like, kunyari ako, dumaan ako doon, tapos biglang narinig ko yung beat, tapos naalala ko yung choir performance namin, tapos parang ma-appreciate ko siya as music. Kasi may association ako with it as music.
Yeah.
So, wala may subjectivity nga siya.
Mm.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, yun. It's interesting though. Like, we don't, as I always say, it's not stuff we think about every day. But, like, because the everyday, kung ipipuwersa natin, there are songs that start with fucking car noises or may kaming piyesa sa medicine where one line is a guy going, shit yung wallet ko! Which is, I wouldn't say a song in real life, but in the context of that, it becomes this part of a whole that becomes the song. That individually, it's lines, it's words, it's movements.
It's only words.
It's only words till magic happens. Diba?
So far, ano yung mga, kailangan ko kasi i-remind yung sarili kung ano na yung mga definitions natin. So far,
So far,
I haven't been taking notes.
so far we have
Here to chill.
ang music
Nagchill lang ako dito.
harmonizes sounds coming together, just know and feel it. Na it's something Fabs can dance to. And then if all music is dance, it's all dance music. When dance is a deliberate set of movements and something we see not just as the performance but the dance of nature, martial arts. And as Jago keeps reminding us, not everything is music, but everything is musical or dancical. And the
Dancical.
part dancical. That's the
Mananalig-
big word for the day.
Danceable.
danceable.
Ang galing.
Dancical.
Danceable.
Tapos, yeah, music and dance is to be humans to live, and the intent of the performance to create music. So meron tayong parang deliberate pattern with an intent to perform. So yun yung current what is music, what is dance natin. O, diba?
Suppose nga, sinasabi ko na depende din siya sa nakakarinig kung may association siya to it as music or dance. Kasi like yun nga, kung sila Diego, nag-a-artist lang sila, wala silang intent to make music. So for them, it's not music. But may napadaan doon na biglang na-associate niya yun as music, then it becomes music if everything is musical. Diba?
Yeah, parang, I guess what you're saying
So-
in the sense that it's when you create something, regardless of your intent, the audience has a part in that process of creation.
Kasi I guess, even if Diego is the one creating the sound, sa POV niya as an audience, hindi niya yun na-perceive as music. Parang even if you're the performer, there's also a side of you that's an audience. Parang ganun ba? Kasi for you to associate it as music. Kasi are we saying that yung audience or kung sino yung nakakarinig or yung nakaka-perceive, siya yung magde-define kung music or dance yun? Parang ganon.
So, are we audience members in our own performances?
I mean, if our definition of music it will be, it's something that you define as music based on what you are perceiving. If it's a set of tones that you appreciate and you associate as music, parang ganun ba?
Fuck, lalim nun. Wait lang. Isip tuloy ako.
Di ba? Nagigets niyo ba ako? Parang si Diego, audience din siya nung
Sabihin
ano niya, nung ginagawa niyang earnest sounds, pero hindi niya ina-associate as music yon. Pero yung isang nag-pass by na tao na narinig yon, na-associate niya as music, kaya naging music to his ears. May na-associate niya to some performance, ganyan.
So, bali, whether something is music or dance is perception based. Not hindi siya. So parang hindi siya. Kasi kanina parang
performance
it's
dependent.
about performance and intent. So from intent naging perception. Well, I guess it could be both.
I think can be both. Kasi like, kung performer ka, whether part ka ng choir, musician ka, part ka ng band, or dancer ka, you always need to think, how does it look like from the point of view of the audience? Right? Or ano yung tunog sa audience? Kailangan ma-please
How
natin.
will they perceive it? Diba? Parang, kasi nga you want to create something pleasant. Or
Mm-mm.
I mean, you want to create, not necessarily pleasant, it depends sa intent. So you want to create something. So you want to make sure that what you are creating is what they are, yung nakikita nila is what you intend them to see or feel. Para ma-bridge yung gusto mong parating.
Message.
Oo,
Oo.
yung message. Or kung anong gusto mong paratingin as an artist.
Mm-mm.
'Di ba?
So Fab, ano feeling na audience member ka sa sarili mong performance?
It's kind of difficult, kasi hmm, kasi parang whenever I prepare for a performance, you always need to think of things like, where do I look? When do
Yeah.
I smile? Do I not smile? Ganyan. So parang, or kailangan tama yung posisyon ng paa ko para maganda tignan sa harap. Alam mo yun? It's so difficult training for a show, for example.
And I mean,
Ha, hirap siya.
diba, you take it a step further. Lagi natin nasabi, we're our own worst critic. So taga na, ikaw na yung performer, ikaw na yung audience member, ikaw pa yung critic ng sarili mong paggagawa. Ang harsh ng audience members natin, tangina.
Oh, lalo na if they're paying audience members. Kailangan maayos yung performance mo. Otherwise, they won't get you back as a dancer or musician, ganyan, di ba?
True.
Diba? It's interesting how we always say those things.
Huh? Wala. Parang, wow, 1 hour.
Yeah, 10 o'clock
Defining
na.
what is music and dance.
Hirap.
Isang
Ang
Pero
hirap.
oras.
I think may direction. I think may direction tayo kahit hindi ko pa na alam kung saan papunta. Parang may direction
Oh.
yung usapan natin.
Hindi,
Oo.
ganyan yan.
Pero naman.
It just happens. We're not thinking about it. Pero may flow pa rin siya. May rhythm yung discussion.
Yes.
Yes, really.
Okay.
Tayo together.
Musical ang podcast.
This music? Huh?
This is music.
Yung meme, yung anime meme no, yung butterfly. Is this music?
We can take,
Because we could probably since we're not versed in music theory, we could probably go talk about this in circles for hours.
Yeah.
So,
And I'll try to ask my
Wag na.
sibling and
Kakahiya,
her
tangina.
boyfriend when they
gago, wag
call a
na.
friend.
Call a friend. Chill Newman lang to, guys. Chill Newman. Just enjoying the time.
Pwedeng
So, actually, gusto ko, I mean, TBH, low-key, gusto ko malaman kung anong take nila on it as performers who do it for a living. Like, ito yung bread and butter nila. Gusto kong malaman what's their perspective on it. Kasi, like, ako, yung pagkanta ko ng choir, kumita lang ako dito nung bata ako, pero onti lang. Hindi ko siya bread and butter. So, ngayon, engineer ako by profession, yun nagbibigay ng pagkain sa hapagkainan ko. Wow! So, paano kaya siya for people who, ano mo yun?
Yeah, try make
Sobrang
sense.
integrated sa life nila na everything depends on it. Kaya,
That's
wala.
Music-
Gusto ko rin malaman.
it's hindi lang music is part of our lives, where music is our life.
Oo, literal kasi nag-music yung buhay nila.
true.
So, gusto ko malaman paano nila i-define yun.
Yeah. So as we
They're
have the first
still
article
outside.
dyan, it makes me, I think I remember why I wrote this topic na. Kasi as a biased na psych major, a part of it's also, you saw nga, we have such a hard time defining music, defining dance. And yet, as we mentioned earlier, there's just some things that when we hear it, we move a certain way. It changes how we start to think. It changes how we feel, diba? Malungkot ka, you play a sad song or you dance it out or my expressionisms through this way. So ano yung take on you that? Do you do that na ay malungkot ako so puro mga emo hits tayo or ay shit sad na dance.
I don't do that. Like, I mean, if I feel down, I don't play songs that will make me feel more down. I don't play. Parang I don't know. When do I listen to sad songs? To sad song. I have it's been a while. I usually go for more upbeat stuff.
So you'll listen, if you're down, you'll listen to happy songs.
It doesn't have to be happy, pero like more upbeat, just to lift me up a bit. Not necessarily happy. Like, like sometimes I listen. Mas sabagay, like I wouldn't call, like, for example, I wouldn't call power metal happy, but it's more upbeat
True.
than like some other forms of metal. Parang ganon.
True.
Ako surprisingly, sobra kasing ingrained yung music sa buhay namin as a family. Na ako, as in, if I can't express myself, I can through music, like through singing. I sing what I feel. Tapos minsan nga nire-record ko pa kasi parang ako, hala, saan nanggaling yung melody na yun? Ang ganda. So, nire-record ko yung feelings ko habang kinakanta ko siya free verse. Walang isip-isip. Pero may tono. Lagi ako may tono. So, wala.
Depends.
Yes. Lagi may
Kailangan
tono.
Laging may
disclaimer.
tono. Kailangan may tono.
Humble bag.
Singerist siya. Singerist siya.
Pero
Choir
syempre,
boy.
syempre, hindi ko pinapublish yun, no? Nakalagay lang, yun yung parang memo ko dahil.
Baka na SoundCloud.
Hindi natin alam.
Share mo lahat ng feelings mo. So
Yeah,
basically,
pero,
basically, ang sinasabi mo yung buhay mo, real life, musical.
well,
High
in a
school
way,
musical,
minsan,
high
as
school
in,
musical,
minsan,
pero
alam
hindi
niyo
high
sila Fabs to, minsan nag-send ako sila ng random video na parang kumakanta ako. Or yung IG stories ko, kumakanta ako. Parang,
Facebook story mo.
oo,
Diba?
ganun. Ginagawa ko yun while driving, hindi safe yun. Huwag niyong gayahin, guys.
Just John
kasi,
things.
legit, I drive, I sing, record the audio, tas overlay yung mga audio for the voicing, and then nilalapat ko siya sa video while driving kasi we all know how bad traffic here in the Philippines.
Wala. Just John things.
Huwag niyo pong gayahin. Huwag niyong gayahin.
I mean,
Soundtrack,
ako, when I drive, I still sing all the parts. I just don't record it because that's unsafe. And you have to save phone battery.
Pero wag gayahin, wag tularan. So far, I mean, hindi pa ako na aksidente ever, pero hindi smart. I mean, I'm not being wise. I'm not being wise
Not
right
being wise.
now.
No, do not. Wag tularan. John
Wag
po
tularan.
ako.
Kung tularan.
Ako legit, I don't,
Try.
ako since it's been a while since I've driven a car. Pero like, I play music while I'm in the car when I'm driving just to make me relax. Because I am super anxious while driving. I hate driving. Like legit, I hate driving so much. So, pero like, when it comes to bike or cycling, like, I never play music ever. Kasi sobrang dangerous
Don't.
yung mga daanan dito sa Pilipinas. No way I'm gonna risk like playing music to distract myself from the road kapag naka-bisikleta ako.
Kaya kami naging
Yeah.
friends
Sometimes-
ni Jego at ni Emman.
Ha?
Driver kami ni Emman. Tapos si Jego, ayaw mag-drive.
Yeah, I hate driving. I have a
Ako,
license.
I know.
I have my license just in case like there's an emergency and I have to drive.
Ako,
And
I love it.
I've actually had to do that. Like
Really?
one time like nasiraan yung tiyan ng dad ko. So we were like we weren't with that far. Kasi galing kami atong where was that? Like Tagaytay or something. So we were still a bit far away. So I had to take over. And what's interesting is that time I didn't bring my license with me.
Ooh.
Uy,
Oo.
boss,
Wala na
MMDA, pakihuli nga po.
MMDA,
Kailan
bawal
to?
po. Di namin kilala itong gagawin
Ay, sorry,
to.
Tagaytay yun. So, hindi MMDA yung huli sa kanya. Wala na sa Metro Manila yun. Sa Tagaytay yun.
Lines.
Ibang jurisdiction.
This was years ago. I don't remember. And if I do remember, I'm not gonna say when. Kasi
Yeah. That's evidence.
Last week?
sure, pero like I'm sure, diba? Like, it was an emergency, so
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, understand.
And I was the only other person who knew how to drive. So kahit wala.
Ako, wala akong maambag dito. Hindi ako driverist. Si John yung nagda-drive para sa akin.
Dyan
Yeah,
sa friends
as a
group
resident
namin.
driver of...
High five,
Yeah.
resident drivers.
And hindi ko alam kung nasang side ka, pero...
Lower right corner.
Ayan.
Yan. Okay.
Ako, I really appreciate driving, pero siguro kaya I do the dangerous things I do kasi it's me trying to reclaim lost time din at the same time. Kasi, guys, at one point, parang nung sobrang lala ng traffic before, 7 hours a day ako nagda-drive. So parang that more or less a third of my life if I do it almost every day. So parang
True.
hindi kaya ng pagkatao ko na masayang yung buhay ko
Sa
sa
kotse.
pagda-drive. As much as I love driving, I live for driving. Kaya in another life, most probably Grab driver ako. Pero ayun, alam mo yun, ang dami lang din talaga ng time.
True.
It's too dangerous. Like when you say dangerous things, parang imagine ko nagda-drift ka sa
One
drag
point
racing.
gumawa na ako. Sorry guys. Oh my gosh, this can be used against me. Pero at one point gumawa na ako ng PowerPoint while driving.
Oh my God.
Um,
PowerPoint.
kasi meron kaming nirarush na presentation sa UP na hindi ko na sabihin ko anong course. Tapos ako yung gumagawa ng presentation, late yung mga binigay na mga kaklase kong parts nila. So, I had to include it. Gaya. Parang, wala na. Malilate na ako. I live in Novaliches. UP is in Diliman. It's too far. Traffic's too bad. I'll do it while I'm driving. It's slow anyway. So, might as well.
That
I mean,
changed
hindi ako
with
nabangga.
iPads. Ang dali gawin on an iPad. Because you're like...
And I did it on a laptop. Tara ako, wild. Live dangerously.
You did it. You did it on a laptop while you were singing and recording.
Yeah.
Your feelings.
And then while I'm eating Chicken Joy, and then yung rice nasa
Habang nanonood ng YouTube
wrapper.
video.
Yes. Naka-Japanese English subtitles. English subtitles. Anime na naka-English subtitles.
Hashtag
Sabi na
just
basa.
Oh.
Huwag tularan.
So hindi po totoo yung lahat ng sinabi ko doon. Hindi ko siya ginagawa ng sabay-sabay, pero nagawa ko na silang lahat at one point.
Hashtag huwag tularan. Hashtag John Things.
Tularan. Hashtag just John
Just
things.
John Things, okay?
Just John.
Wala kaming kinalaman doon.
Ang weird nga eh. Sige, before we go back to music, ang weird kasi may one time na kompleto yung tulog ko, like 10 hours. Tapos doon pa ako nakatulog sa daan. Hindi ko alam kung bakit.
Tularan. Bro, nangyari din.
At nabangga ako doon. That one time, nabangga ako. Pero buti, very slight lang.
So,
Kasi
as
Tayo
you can
nagsabi
see,
na,
sinungaling yan. Sabi niya kanina, never been in an accident. Tapos ngayon, nakatulog ako, may maliit na
hindi.
accident.
Never been in an accident through that act na pagre-record and Pero dun sa nakatulog sa daan, once.
Ikaw yung ano pa. Ikaw yung bumagit ng MMDA kanina. Baka ikaw yung ma-revoke ng lisensya.
Hindi naman nila,
boss.
wala akong sinabi kung saang area, hindi mo alam, baka sa ibang bansa pala to, so hindi jurisdiction ng Pilipinas. Car rental is a thing. So, this cannot be used to, incriminate me. Ata? Question mark.
Hashtag ata?
Pagbansa,
Ay.
Nice.
Okay, babalik na ba tayo sa music at dance?
No, but I mean, that's why. Because like sa car, that's when I feel music and dance the most. Because you're just jamming in the fucking car.
I agree.
Especially now na walang, like with the
road
pandemic,
trip, no?
you just can't jam with people anymore. Yung pupunta kang TK, tas may music. Tas tangin lahat kayo, like, kung ano lang kinakanta. Or tas nagsasayaw kayo ng, like, hindi ko kayo kasama, no? Nung Today X Future, once or twice.
When was that?
Hindi ko kayo kasama nun.
Ako si Alice kasama.
Ako once.
Oo, si Alice kasama.
Yung... Who was with us there?
Is that the one with
Whatever.
Bowie?
Pero yeah, I went one. No, not with Bowie. It was... Who was that? It was you.
Ikaw ba, Fabs, nakapag Today X ka? Ay, Today X Future ka before it closed? O never?
Hindi. Never.
Ako, never ako nakapag Today, I think.
Pwede
It
ako,
was
bitches.
you, si Alice, si was it Lau?
Oh,
No.
No, that was enough.
It's in Cubao X pero hindi
it's a
sa
bit
Today
off.
X. Nandun ako eh. Yeah.
I can't remember who was with us
Basta
Sorry,
ko,
that
Fabs.
time.
For context, is our PI 100 people.
for other people, Today X Future was this bar in this place known
No
for
no
people
comment po kasi recorded to.
known for people who'd go there to dance.
Sinistream to.
So it's a big place
Mm.
where people go there. I'm sure you've heard of Today X Future, diba?
Oo naman, yeah. I heard of it.
Malamang hindi ikaw si
I've
Hindi.
Fab.
never been kasi every time I pass by to attempt, parang ang daming tao tapos parang ako, I'm too old for this.
Hindi ikaw si
It was
Fabs.
si Alice tsaka si Camille. Kasi
Camille.
when you mentioned the dance, kasi diba gusto niya mag-dance?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I remember.
Yeah. Kasi it's a dancing place. So people would go there to dance. Pero yung dancing time nila mga midnight. So parang hindi ko energy time. Pero it was fun. It was fun. Yung ibang circles ko mas mahilig ng TXF. Close na sila. Or like,
Music.
something similar. Root. We've all been to Root.
How about
Yeah.
Fabs? Have you ever
Oh my
been?
God, kung maalala. Baka hindi
Oh my
rin.
gosh, wow!
Oh,
Or ano mo?
Masyado akong busy pumunta sa mga dance studio at mag-take ng dance
That is
class.
also true. Guys,
I'm that type of person.
si Fabs, as in, she tried
gets
a lot.
naman.
A lot. I mean, ako, I tried a lot of
Daming
sports and
genre.
arts. Kay Fabs, puro dance. Iba-ibang dance. Can you name some, Fabs?
Ooh.
Ah,
I saw
um,
my mutual friend tayo who teaches dance.
Julian
She does?
De Padillo. Pearl.
She teaches dance? What the fuck?
Yeah, she does.
I was gonna say,
Oh yeah, she does. She teaches contemporary. You're gonna say si Anna
yeah,
Victoria?
Anna Andres, yeah.
Yeah. She teaches jazz. I tried jazz too. Ano ba? I tried hip hop. Di ko bet. Jazz, di ko bet. Contemporary, hindi ko rin bet. Philippine folk dance. Doon ako nag-thrive actually. Actually, I think I'm more of a folk dance person. So, Philippine folk dance, na-try ko na. Belly dance, na-try ko na. Bhangra from India, na-try ko na. Tapos ngayon, I'm really into Tahitian dance and hula. Hawaii.
Also pole, di ba? It's
Some
dance.
pole.
Also pole,
Pole.
ayun.
Wow, ang dami. That's so cool.
Pole. Tapos maraming genre of pole dance pa yun. May exotic.
Natin-try niya rin lahat.
Oo, lahat.
Yung
Tinay ko
pole,
yun.
Grabe.
I tried
Ang,
pole
ang cool
once.
naman nun. So ako, I don't think I've ever like formally learned any or tried to learn any dance. Pero I want to learn. Like, what am I kind of interested in now? Like, I want to learn Bhangra. No, yung mga
Super fun.
Indian dance. It looks so fun. It looks so
Super
fun.
fun. Tapos nakakapagod siya. Maganda siyang cardio workout.
Yes.
Yeah, dance
Pero-
is hard.
Maybe swing din kasi or I don't know, parang di ko alam kung swing ba ang tawag pero basically kasi I like electro swing music
Mhm.
and I like parang when people make dance covers parang halo siya ng parang swing dance and like modern. So parang I find that kind of cool.
Yeah, Charleston and Manila swing mix siya.
Yeah.
Yun pa, nag-dance sport din pala ako. As in like, nag-compete ako dati.
Oh, yung dance sport? Kailan mo
Dati.
I'll say it to chat. I don't know if I should drop names. I don't know if I should drop names. Just realized. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dance is super hard, I have to say. Both are, they're just very,
Kilala ko siya.
yeah, yan ang alam ko for dance sport.
Ano ba? Fabs, do you have any suggestions for
Let's say Jego, who wants to get to dance.
relatively old people na gusto mag-dance? Who feels like relatively old tayo to some people. So,
Iba na age group natin,
So,
ah.
age group natin.
Can claim that.
oh.
Hindi
young
na
and
tayo
free.
18 to
Oh, sige.
24.
Okay. Yeah, we're 25 na to 30.
Ah, shit, I'm not 18.
Damn. We're at that age group.
Maglilit na tayo.
Depends on what you're into.
Youth pa rin tayo.
Medyo mahirap eh. Depends what
Go,
you're into.
Fabs.
If you're into one of the more malandi styles, mag-pole ka.
Both
Mag-lap
hard.
dance ka diyan, masaya 'yan. If
Pero
you're
ako naman,
into yung mga mas mabagal, yung more meditative, ganyan, contemporary. Kung gusto mo makibagay sa kung anong in ngayon, mag-hip-hop ka. Dance hall is really popular
Sa
right
Diliman,
now.
female only ang striptease aerobics.
Yes. Uy, dream PE ko yon. Never kong nakuha. I'm so sad.
My friend said it's not as sexy as you think.
Oo nga, nakita ko yung mga video nila. And I'm like,
No, plus,
girl, you gotta point your toes. You gotta look at the audience.
plus yung ending, yung final exam niyan, magpo-perform sa gym when everyone watching.
Mm-mm.
Kaya parang,
Mm-mm.
hindi
Tapos
energy.
ang sad kasi ginudge. Kasi sinubukan nila mag-chair dance. Oh my God, sorry. Kasi nag-chair dance ako.
so hindi nyo pa
Sinubukan nila
nabanggit.
Hindi ko nabanggit. Nag-chair dance ako. Sinubukan nila mag-chair dance with monoblock plastic
Yep,
chairs.
I've seen
That's
that.
so dangerous. So dangerous. No.
It's striptease
No.
aerobics. It's all in the head. It's not in the pee.
Feel ko masaya siya, within the class. Pero pag mag-perform ka na, it takes a specific, takes a certain courage to do it
Yeah.
in front of everybody. Na you don't know.
And you won't get any... Because if we're talking about dance as a performance, walang audience energy for that. Just because of the context of
Wala nga.
PE classes watching you for the final exam. Parang, okay.
Well, ako kung ginawa ko siya, hindi siya just to dance or just to fulfill the requirement.
But to learn.
Parang yun yung naging stepping stone ko to further my dance journey and get into like being
Classes.
paid and stuff.
When did you start? When did you start?
Alin,
I mean,
specifically.
like actively pursuing dance na talaga.
Actively pursuing dance, college, first year.
So it's not too late, I think. Kasi ako for a time, like kung iniisip talaga na too late na for me to dance kasi I'm too old.
No, it's
No,
never
si-
it's never too
si-
late.
Alam ko na, I mean, guys, I know it's never too late. Pero
Tanga na
it
yung
takes a
podcast
certain...
na to, ilan taon pinag-usapan bago nangyari.
Actually.
Dude, halos lahat ng hobbies ko I started like last year ng college or right after
Earnest
Yeah.
college.
natin.
It took some time for me to accept na it's never too late. It just
Mhm.
takes courage and pride.
Yeah.
Humbling yourself na kasabay mo talaga usually sobrang mas bata sa'yo.
Mm-mm.
If mag-start ka from the very
Plus-
beginning.
Narealize ko
Mhm.
lang talaga yan. Like, yun nga, patapos na yung undergrad years ko. Which is sad. So, I guess yun yung regret ko sa undergrad ko na masyadong GC ako.
Oh
No,
my
the
God,
problem kasi
same.
is,
Oh my God, same.
mali assumptions natin, guys. Iba ang late natin sa late ni John. Okay? Kasi si John, ang tagal magsabi niyan, sasama ako sa arnis ni Rag at Ultra. Tanga na, every week niya, mag-arnis kayo, sige, sasama ako. Isang taon, ni isang beses sumama siya. Hanggang ngayon, late pa rin siya doon.
Alam mo ba guys, nag-enlist ako ng earnings for you guys, but I had to cancel it after ko siya makuha. As in, na-enlist ko siya with the intention
Sad.
of magiging ka-PE ko. I mean, makakahabol na ako finally kay Diego and kay Kino, but I had to cancel it for thesis. So parang ako, not meant to be.
Ganyan
I
ka
did
late
my part. Na-enlist
ang
ko siya, guys.
Emman late.
And this is all gonna paint me in a bad light again, but I'm gonna say it anyway. 8 PEs yung na-enlist ko nung UP sa UP life ko and kinancel ko yung isa doon. 7. Technically nakapitong PE ako.
Grabe. Ako actually dalawa lang.
And
Dalawa
wala
lang.
akong pinrirog doon. Kasi ako, I always try to enlist PE. Tapos parang, if I get it, parang, yes, hindi ko siya papakawalan kasi I got it.
So, issue yan sa slots. Tanga
I
na.
am slowly destroying my internet image. Myself, I'm doing this.
Baliktad tayo kasi I only took 2 PEs sa undergrad
At
life.
Dalawa
nag-ano ka,
lang.
nagpepe ka.
Pepe, yes.
Ah, Pepe.
pangit,
Okay.
ang pangit ng acronym.
Pepe
Pepe.
ka.
Ano,
Ano Pepe?
physical education,
Placement exam.
proficiency ba? Placement exam pa yan.
O, basta
Nag,
exam.
it was, I took the running and swimming Pepe.
I
Funny
took-
swimming Pepe.
Wala. Mga PE ko, the chill PEs. We have camping, duckpin bowling, team building. Fuck yeah, team
Oh my
building.
God. Grabe, paano mo
Yes,
nakuha lahat
masaya.
yan?
First PE ko team building.
First PE ko, team
Wow.
Sa UP.
building. First year,
My first-
first sem. Team building tayo, Paps. Pass the message.
Yeah, my first PE was fencing. And
Wow.
Wow.
First year. Then my second PE was Arnis, fourth year.
Hinintay ko talaga
Ang frustration ko yung archery talaga.
But I never
Frustration ko yung archery. Then,
Actually,
nung freshie kami, 2012, in-offer yung archery. I enlisted for it, hindi ko nakuha.
Kaya nagalit siya
So,
sa
ano yung
CHK.
nakuha mo na pito?
Kinuha niya
Sige.
lahat.
Ito yung mga nakuha ko. Team building, weight training, running for fitness, scuba diving, wait, bubuksan ko yung CRS ko kasi nakalimutan ko na yung iba. Wait lang ha.
great reference.
Yung CRS for
Wow.
this. Too many.
7.
Pero taga- Pero sige, habang naghahanap.
Ito na.
Yun.
Okay, first year, first sem, weight training. That's 1. Baka 6 or 7 lang pala. Wait lang. Tingnan natin. Second year, first year, second sem, team building. Tapos,
Control F, mas mabilis.
Hindi.
Control F mo na lang tapos PE.
PE2.
Oo
PE
nga.
space.
Oh my gosh, ang lolo! Oh my...
Unless nag-PE1 ka, na nag-judge kita.
Hindi, ayun. So, team building, tapos, jiu-jitsu, running for fitness, Arnis, na kinancel ko, ay dinrap ko, sorry, hindi kinancel.
Dinrap mo pa yun?
So na-enlist ko siya, pero dinrap ko.
Hirap mo.
Kasi nga, wala na akong time, kaya dinrap ko siya. So, dinrap ko yung Arnis.
Hindi talaga meant to be.
Drop, puta.
Hindi cancel, dinrap. Dinrap ko siya. Scuba diving. Alam mo ba, I always get, as in, I get nightmares every now and then na hindi ko na-drop yung Arnis. Tapos nagkasingko ako sa Arnis. Even up until now, for some odd reason. PE2 scuba diving. I still feel guilty, I guess. Scuba diving, basic volleyball, fin swimming, Olympic weightlifting. Hindi. Sorry, yung weightlifting pala is, club. So, 7 lang? 7 lang? For 8? 7.
Add 5.
5?
Tapos
At
I also did dragon boat for a while and then nag-Olympic weightlifting din ako nung final sem ko. Doon ko batchmate si Fab. Nako-consider ko kasi as PE yung weightlifting kaya 8 yung nabibilang ko pala. So,
Parang PE rin naman yun. I
Yeah,
had 5. So yung first ko, modern ballroom dancing. Next, belly dance. Third, cheerleading. Fourth, yung cheerleading, yung sinalihan ko na sem, yung bahaghari. So it's like, really fun. Anyway, yun. And then, aerobic dance. So basically, Zumba. And then, yung last, tinake ko siya kasi I wanted to change my perception on street dance. Kasi I didn't like street dance because it was so strange to me. So sabi ko, sige, I'll take the PE. Baka umiba yung point of view ko. Tapos I ended up hating it more. Tapos no, nakaaway ko yung teacher. Oh my God, nakaaway ko yung teacher. Sabi ng teacher, Fabs, 4 na nga yung mata mo, hindi ka pa makasunod. So,
oh my God!
na-trauma ako doon, promise.
That's a good line.
Dance videos mo ngayon.
That's a good line, though.
Oo nga, dropping them bars.
Puta ng line yun. Solid.
Flip top pala yung pinasukan mo eh. Di pala street dance eh.
Oh my God. Traumatized pa rin ako. Whenever I see his face, I'm like, I don't like you.
Lagay mo sa chat. Sino to?
PE to street dance professors sa
Pero
THA.
I guess
So,
yun din yung regret ko na maybe I should have tried to kasi I know that kahit like I'm kind of like even back then I was kind of interested in like learning how to dance pero like never really pinush ko. So like maybe that parang if I try to enlist sa mga PEs like
Diego,
that
ikaw
could
na
have
rin
been the gateway
nagsabi.
din. Yeah.
Ikaw na
Pero
rin
like
nagsabi.
like
It's never too
kasi
late. Kaso nasa
yeah,
pandemya tayo. So,
kaya
for
nga eh.
now.
May Zoom
For now, maybe
classes.
later,
Si
some
Ding
other
din, lagi
time.
Pero
nagpo-post.
I think Fabs, you're taking Zoom classes, right? For
Yeah, I'm
the
taking
online.
Zoom dance classes now.
Ooh.
It's so hard.
Ayan.
Yeah, yung hula and yung Tahitian dance, lahat yan ngayong pandemic ko lang natutunan.
I think pati yung Indian, di ba? Yung sa
O
Indian ka.
pating Bangra, ngayon lang din,
Like
pandemic.
I feel like as someone as a super newbie like
Zero.
first
Oo.
timer,
Yeah.
sobrang
Ang
mahihirapan
hirap.
ako like kung over Zoom. Because like
Yeah,
iba
I
yung
feel
like
like.
iba talaga kung physically, 'di ba? You have an instructor or teacher physically there to help you, 'di ba?
And with,
Imbis na
better pa with mirrors.
mali parang over the so there's space in my room as you can see.
But that's
So
the...
ganon.
I'm not sure if you saw that docu. Yung parang sayaw ng aking mga... fuck, what's the word?
Kababayan.
What's shadow? What's shadow in Filipino?
Anino, yes.
Anino. Oh.
Anino.
Anino,
Yun may
anino.
title. Basta may title parang sayaw ng aking anino. Na parang mag-isa siya. So the only person to check their form was meron siyang kandila sa likod niya. Tapos pinapanood niya yung sariling shadow niya. She's dancing it properly.
Wow, ang ganda.
Wow.
Donkey yun.
Ang
I can't...
ganda. Hindi ba kay Joseph Morong to?
Morong ba
Nando.
yun?
Hindi ko sure. Parang meron siyang,
Pero anyways, ay maganda yung sinabi ni Fabs kanina na parang pwedeng gateway yung PE into whether it's dance
Lalo na
or
if you're in
other
UP.
hobbies or sports. Yeah, if
Mm-mm.
you're in UP.
Lalo na if you're in UP.
In general, magaling yung mga PE instructors.
Hindi, at
Like,
saka yung diversity
yeah.
ng PEs
Ang
natin.
dami,
And we
ang
get to
dami.
know.
Yeah.
I think, yun yung, alam mo, yun yung bragging right ko, hindi yung UP as an institution. Yung PE natin, yung bragging right ko to
Oh,
other
ang
universities.
gaganda ng mga PE natin.
Legit. As in, hindi
Birdwatching!
never ko pinagmalaki na top tayo or something. Lagi ko sinasabi, may PE ba kayong ganito? May PE ba kayong ganyan? Kinagi ko sila ginaganon.
True, P is the best pang gago.
Like ako,
Diba?
on my part, fencing PE and Arnis PE were basically my gateway into weapons-based martial
Yeah.
arts.
Yeah.
And like now I really like it. Kahit I didn't really like parang sport fencing. Like it was still fun. And now I want kapag if kung makapag-aral ako sa Europe, definitely I will I'm going to look for HEMA gym. 'Di ba? Ano to? HEMA Historical European Martial Arts. So yung mga ibang weapons, mga long kasi 'di ba fencing ngayon, yung sport fencing, yung foil saber tsaka yung isa, epee. Pero like pero sportified na siya. Ang gusto ko malaman, yung parang closer to Arnis na like with Arnis, my sport Arnis din, pero ako yung gusto ko talaga yung weapons training. Kasi I find it more interesting. So like kung makapunta ako sa Europe, I want to learn how to fight with poleaxe or military saber talaga. Hindi yung sport saber, but yung military talaga, yung siyempre yung mas mabigat siya, no? And things like that. So, well,
Actually, going back to that...
basically endorsement to sa PE system ng
Sa CHK.
no? Like I really like na we're required to take PE classes. Kasi it lets you look for something, parang lets you choose. I mean, if you can get a slot, di ba?
If you can get it, di ba?
If you can get a slot, di
Kaya
ba?
nga, I don't let go of the slots I get. Because it's a blessing from heaven.
And,
Pero trinap yung Arnie.
Yeah. Wala akong excuse dun. Tinrap ko siya.
Grabe, no? 5-6 PEs, tapos
That's the
so many students, you only need 4 to to
To
to
pass?
pass, no,
Yung iba
to graduate. And everyone is fighting for PE slots. Tapos you have someone here with 6 PE classes.
Sino yun? Tangina. Anong
Oo
klaseng
nga,
tao
sino yun?
yun?
Grabe naman, ang insensitive niya. Bakit siya nasa UP?
No, but like
Hoarding.
Jego, as we were saying kanina, you have a background in martial arts. So pivoting to
And
dance won't like be brand new. It's not like newbie ka. You have
Yeah, it's not
form.
like super newy, but like
maybe gusto mo ba i-try na, ano yung capoeira? Sorry, hindi ko naman yung pronunciation.
Capoeira.
Capoeira.
Capoeira. Kasi that's martial arts and at the same time, it can, as in, sobrang rapid siya sa dance.
hindi
So,
ko siya
pwede,
bet.
pwede yung lens mo on, like yung lens mo in studying it is martial arts, pero slowly, na-integrate na into dance. Parang ganun. Kasi mas malapit siya sa dance.
Well, yeah, actually, yung sa being learning and training in martial arts actually is something that it's something that actually increased my interest for dance din. Parang it's something that convinced me na maybe I should, di ba? When I have an opportunity, I want to learn din how to dance. Kasi dun. Kasi nga related sila, cousins or whatever. Yung dance and martial arts in a sense.
Cousins.
Yeah.
Pero, you
Go, Fabs.
mentioned na ayaw mo mag-online class kasi nga, it's difficult and it's true. Pero, I don't know, maybe you should try kasi it's a good
For the
way
sake
for
of
you to
trying.
gauge then na if
Yeah.
you'd be into it in the future or if you're kind of shy to show yourself in an actual class,
True.
pwedeng naka-off cam ka. Yan. Mag-isa ka lang. Walang magja-judge sa'yo.
Or YouTube. I'm sure there's a YouTube video
True.
in somewhere.
Yun din.
Just to start.
Pero ako parang I don't do very well like learning by myself or alone. Yun lang. Kasi like,
Yeah.
oh my god, like the past year, my god, I haven't trained with I haven't trained with yung Arnis club ko for almost a year. Almost exactly a year na. And I feel like I feel
They're
like
still training. Pero kasi nasa ano ka
even
eh.
if I train like almost every week, parang yun nga, parang feel ko parang shit, parang walang improvement.
Oo,
walang
ang layo mo din kasi talaga. Kasi I mean, friend ko kasi well, sabi niya dapat Lexi na lang tawag ko sa kanya. Pero kasi teacher ko siya before, si Teacher Lexi. Um, friend ko siya sa Facebook, nag-train pa rin sila every now and then. Kaso I guess malayo ka lang talaga sa community, right?
Yeah, and no, I mean as yung malaki like yung malaking grupo, the big group, we haven't we
Yeah.
haven't met for a year, like the whole club.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Marami,
get.
marami kami eh.
Once you leave Diliman, it's always hard.
Mhm.
True.
Yeah.
Ikaw ba, Kins? Do you have any like frustration na in a sense na gusto mo i-try sa music or dance?
Instruments you want to play,
Or
dances you want to play.
suntok sa buwan,
Alam niyo
dance
ako,
you want to try.
If I want to do something, I'll eventually do it. That's why we had this podcast. That's why I got an ocarina. For dance, kasi I'd say the closest thing where I'm like, I want to learn dance is yung mga like just dance stuff. I don't know. It's a game.
Oh, that's fun
I
though.
love it. Especially since for Christmas, the family did get a Switch. It's right over here. So mayroon ng Just Dance dito. So, because I remember before, pag Just Dance kami, I'm not the most flexible thing. I'm a big fat guy. But then, I beat everyone in the family just because for some reason, the part of my brain knows how to trigger the steps in the game. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have
para
to look
mag-register,
nice, but I know how to
Yeah.
hit the right stuff. Like, even kapag, oh
Like-
my God. Kasi, like in medicine, you have to do performances. I can't be the front dancer, but I'll memorize the steps really fast. So parang, that's fine
You know,
for me.
like if it's like controller based, like Wii or the Switch, I think I remember one time I was playing like I don't know, di ko maalala, Just Dance or something. Pero you can play it while sitting down kasi it only looks for the
That's the Switch. It's the
motion
one
track-
hand.
tracker, So you can play it while
Yeah.
sitting down. Pero mahirap siya kapag mas mahirap siya, mas challenging siya pag if you're playing it on the Xbox Connect.
Yeah, the
If you're
Kinect's
using
a
the
lot
Kinect
harder.
kasi it tracks your body tracking.
Yeah,
naman.
yeah.
Yeah. But ang argument ko kasi
And that's what the college used before. Because our college CSSP, yung ano nila like before for their yung fundraiser nila for the the college varsity teams. Uh they'd rent I think PH207. Tapos may mga ano sila, they have like a TV and an Xbox with Kinect. Tapos you would play
Yeah.
uh parang Just Dance. And I tried that. And yeah, mahirap siya. But it's fun.
Naisip ko nga no, kasi 'di ba, we're saying na it's hard to learn dance now. But what if you learn like there is a way to have a formal dance lessons tas yung nagta-track ng movements mo, yun nga yung something na may body tracking and then yung nagsasabi kung tama o hindi yung form mo. Tas para
Hindi,
siyang form ng game kasi nata-track niya pero 'di ba? Wala lang, ang ganda lang ng concept na yun. Someone fund it. Someone do it. Ganun.
bili ka ng
Bili ka ng Just Dance tapos i-modify mo yung code
Uh-uh.
para dun sa dance na gusto mo lang.
Just that one thing.
Mm.
Yeah. But it shows you how, like, everyday life, there is a performance aspect, but the performance can come in PE classes that we take just for requirements, in games that we play. Hinahanap ko pa rin yung documentary na yun kasi ang ganda nun. What's the name of that person?
Guys, nandito na yung kuya ko. Tatanungin ko pa siya. Kakapasok lang
Wag.
niya ng bahay.
Wag na.
Sige, wag. Okay,
Wag.
fine. Sila off-air. Tapos
Off-air.
balitaan ko kayo
Home,
sometime.
homework na lang.
music is amazing. Homework na lang.
Homework na yan. Ano yan? Please write your report tapos post mo sa Discord natin para ma-discuss at length.
Actually, ano ba, kasi for our viewers, or future viewers, right now kasi I've been going to my sister's apartment din sila. Tapos grabe guys, every night talaga, nagpa-practice sila ng Schindler's List, tapos nag-cello yung kuya ko, tapos si ate nagpa-piano, tapos parang ako, heaven. Okay. Yun lang.
Kailangan niya i-share pa yun sa atin.
Kailangan to share.
Ang saya kasi.
Super share.
When I go to sleep,
Random
yun yung mga
share.
gawin ko.
Share mo lang.
Yun yung naglalalabay sa akin pag tulog ko. Kaya grabe, yung brain power ko tumataas. So yeah. Oh guys, ano na? Ano na ba
Ano
yung
na?
pagkaka-define
Ano na
natin sa
Wala
mga
rin.
bagay-bagay?
Music and dance, part of
Okay na yan.
life. Life goes on.
Are we are we human or are we dancing?
Are we human?
That's the question.
Talino eh. The killers tayo eh.
Yeah, this is our 4th episode, right?
Yep. I have yet to
Well,
edit
speaking
the other
of music,
Hmm.
speaking of music though, what have you guys been listening to? Like this pandemic? Like new artists or whatever?
Wala akong new artist na nahanap this pandemic as far as I think.
Really?
According to Spotify, 2020, I listened to 3,600 plus new artists.
Wow.
And that's all coming from my work
And-
playlist.
Our playlist?
Okay, fair,
Oo.
fair.
Girl, what you doing?
Lo-fi hip-hop, mga ganyan.
Okay.
Mga ganun.
Ako
Or
nung
game
pandemic,
music.
na addict ako ulit. I mean, fan naman na talaga ako pero na-addict ako ulit sa The Maria.
So,
Kasi
ano?
sobrang chill. The Marias yung pangalan.
The
ng
Marias,
group.
the Marias.
Kaya, as in, gusto ko kasi, as in, one, if I'm too far.
Yeah.
Sobrang ganda ni ate girl, tapos sobrang chill pa ng music. So, yun.
Wala. I've been driving back to
Makinig kayo
Manila.
sa kanila.
Huling El Bimbo the musical. Paulit-ulit na ulit on my car. And Reese.
Oh, nice.
Always
Never
go
ko pa
back
siya
to
napanood.
Reese.
Ako sobrang interesting. Like, because my Spotify, it's like, my Spotify is mostly the same.
Mhm.
Like, I haven't really been discovering much on Spotify itself. Pero, but the thing is, a lot of the music I listen to, and I guess I'm gonna expose ko lang yung sobrang pagka-weeb ko.
Tohu.
Kasi I listen to a lot of music na from Japan. Na, like, itong mga, like, a lot of these, like, some of these indie artists and Hindi ko alam I don't know if you could call it like cover artist and other ano, parang well, the term is, di ba, parang doujinshi, no,
Mhm.
Yeah.
mga
Mm.
small indie circles that either make music or they make adapt parang arrangements ng music ng video game music and other
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So like most of that stuff is that like most of like Japan itself, like ang daming naka region lock on Spotify itself. But like when you're talking about like small indie circles in Japan, wala yan sa Spotify. So like puro YouTube na ako. And also since I was getting back into anime. I got back into anime during this pandemic. Na-realize ko
Love,
lang na parang
love anime.
why do anime opening and ending songs just go so hard? Why are they so good? 'Di ba?
Diba? And ang daming
Totoo,
spoilers. And ang
totoo.
daming spoilers.
I
Can
don't
I just
watch
say
Totoo
them
ang
because of
daming spoilers.
spoilers.
Ako din, I
All
don't watch
spoilers.
it because of
Oo.
spoilers.
Yeah, that's true. 'Di ba? Like, but like, 'di ba? Like when you think about it, I think that's really a Japan thing. Because like when you look at like any show, any series or the kind animated or hindi, like whether it's I don't know, from the Philippines or US, or the theme songs are just okay.
Mm.
But parang when it's like anime, parang ano, they yung it's a legit song talaga for ano. Hindi siya it's not just the theme song. It's like a full like record na. And I find that so interesting that they put so much effort into that. Whereas like for example, let's say what's an iconic like Western show, 'di ba? With ano like
Friends.
okay, yeah, Friends. That's well, was the song made for ano, or did they just use it?
You're saying so they made for us. Steven
Good,
Universe
well,
has a good
it's
theme
in
song.
because like in for anime, I think it's
Written for
their
the show.
example. It's both. Like there are some where the song is made, they make the song for the
Specifically,
anime,
yeah.
and
Specifically,
somewhere parang
existing na siya.
yeah, parang
Mm-mm.
collaboration basically na ano, like we
Mm-mm.
have this song or I'm making this song and matchy siya sa ano sa theme ng anime, 'di ba? I find that so interesting na their their theme songs just slap so hard. Whereas like when you think of like Game of Thrones, 'di ba? It has a really catchy theme song, but then like it's just
Yeah, I
the
guess.
theme song for that show, 'di ba? You're not gonna add it to your playlist and listen to it casually like oh my chill, it's just part of my chill playlist. Biglang mag-play yung ano yung theme song from like the Simpsons.
Oy,
'Di ba?
Scooby Doo with Lincoln Plan ata. That's what's uh
Ooh.
Scooby Doo, where are you?
You've got some work to do now.
That actually made me remember yung ano. Do you remember yung sa Cartoon Network yung the old Teen Titans?
Teen
The
Titans.
Titans.
Mm.
Yeah,
Tan,
diba
tan,
very
tan,
ano,
tan, 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 tan.
very anime
Teen
as kasi diba
Oh,
Japanese
black
yung ano,
tayo
diba
eh.
Japanese yung
Tapos pinapakita yung mga Japanese na singers. Fun yun. Actually, si Fabs, I think, hindi ko alam kung na-influence ko siya. I think nanonood naman na siya ng anime before.
Oo,
Pero
dati
kasi,
pa naman.
pero kasi nag-share kami ng Netflix account. So, nakikita niya na yung Netflix ko, puro
Oo.
anime yung laman.
Sorry.
So ayun, nanonood na rin siya ng anime na yun sa
Pero
Netflix.
like going back to the song, why it slaps so hard, I think that's because it has something to do with how anime culture is so strong in Japan. Na yung identity talaga nila nasa anime na talaga.
Oh
And
my gosh, yung paper mo nga
oh
pala,
my gosh, na,
Fabs.
oo.
Can you share? Can you share? Can you share your kasi Fabs
Wait lang.
is
Mamaya,
go
mamaya.
go. Go
Parang
sige,
gusto
Fabs.
ko lang i-connect kasi may very interesting phenomenon on translation, right? When you translate anime, whether dub or subtitles, napaka-interesting kasi rarely do you ever find na i-translate yung mga anime song into their own language, right?
Mhm.
May mga songs, yung mga napakaluma, like yung mga old Naruto episodes, right? Tina-translate yung song into English, or One Piece, Bleach into English, translate nila yung opening and closing song. Pero yung mga current ones, ngayon na anime is a lot more popular, yun nila tina-translate. Tapos parang it's one of the questions that translators ask, bakit ni natin ginagalaw tong mga anime songs? Because napaka iconic niya. If you change it, umiiba yung identity ng anime altogether. So wala lang, sobrang
Yeah.
interesting na it just really slaps so hard. Hindi mo siya
It's
translate.
so good, di ba?
Ganon.
Pero like yung pinatugtog ko kanina sa ano yung with the bot. That's
Sa
the ending
Discord.
song. That was the ending song of ano. That was the ending song of wala pa si Emman kanina pero nanonood ka ba ng ano ng Jujutsu Kaisen?
Oo. Ang ganda ng ending song ng Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm a
Ending
fan.
song, yeah.
I made GIFs and I sent it to our group chat nila Fabs. Do you know the dancing GIFs I
Oo.
sent?
Yeah.
Oo.
Galing Jujutsu
It was
Kaisen.
so good. That's my
It's so
favorite anime
good.
ending theme in
Yes.
a while.
Ako din. Oh my gosh. As in,
Yeah.
na-LSS ako doon ng malala.
But that artist is really good then. Because like they
Yeah.
also made I know they made I listened to some of their other songs. And I know they also did the opening theme of Beastars, which I didn't watch. Pero
Oh yeah, I haven't pa.
kasi ang ganda din ng opening theme ng Beastars.
Yep,
So
I don't
yun.
watch these
And that's so
songs.
interesting. But and it must have been something like really like I think yeah, I guess really deep siya. Kasi like even like I think when was that last? Hindi ko alam mo last year or 2 years ago. Like 2 years ago when I was like watching some older anime, like older as in like 80s.
Mhm.
So like
As in Voltes 5 level.
like
And
yeah,
and even before.
I watched like Gundam in the 80s. Yung Zeta Gundam. Kasi I was watching all of I wanted to watch all of the lahat ng Gundam and some of their songs are really good. Like pati sa 80s, ang ganda, ang ganda,
Totoo.
'di ba? Like
Totoo. I
and yeah, actually
agree.
the Voltes 5 song is really nice also. Pero it's more popular here than in Japan.
Pero
Yeah.
ang interesting no na it's so popular na naging part siya ng ang tawag doon, people power.
Ni
Yeah.
Bato de la Rosa, what?
Yung ano,
Sorry?
people
Huh?
power.
People
People.
power. Yung
And
Voltes
hindi
5.
ba to
Oh
yun?
my gosh.
But
Si
Our
Debold.
podcast is about to get
sorry.
political again.
The
Oh my
Bold
god.
Sinas? Sorry, what?
Yan. Si Debold
The
Sinas.
Bold?
Kasi fan siya ng Voltes 5.
Yeah, the Bold
Huh?
Sinas? What?
His name is Debold.
The Bold.
Yung ano,
Who names their son the bold? Joke lang.
No. I think that's a valid question. What does that mean?
Diba? It's something I always
Is it a
ask
name?
every time I
No.
hear his
It
name.
might be like a
I mean, not-
combination of names. Deborah
Well,
Harold.
makes
I mean,
sense.
I've
Dead and
had
old.
some students with very interesting names then. But Debold,
Deborah and Harold, the bold. Oh, ganda. Ganda ng combination.
pero sige, pero diba, not to make fun of his name, pero si Debold Sinas, I forgot what his position is, pero he's a
Baby chief.
very high rank in very high honcho in the police in the national police. You can tell because
PNP chief.
they're very overweight. No, the more ano the more overweight the police are, diba? The higher their rank. Um, so and again that's not to fat shame, pero they're police. They're supposed to be physically fit, no?
Kino, I hope you cut this in the recording. Just kidding.
I'm not
Your call, your call.
No, it's
I'm not
fine.
fat shaming people. I'm just saying that,
It's a
diba?
reality we
Police
face
shouldn't
with.
be police should be healthy, diba?
Yeah, like the police are a separate issue talaga when it comes to the Philippines and
Yeah,
our
pero
relationship with them.
yeah, pero talking about yeah, true. Pero going back to Sinas, diba? Fan siya ng Voltes 5. He's a big fan of Voltes 5. Why? Because whenever he appears in the news, there's always palaging may plug ng there's always something Voltes 5 related in news about him, 'di ba? Like 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 during his birthday party, no, yung manyanita
Yeah, Voltes 5 din yung cake niya.
which violated
Our protocol.
quarantine protocols, no, which the police were arresting people for, 'di ba?
Or
Were arresting
yes.
people
Yeah, it's
for
so
violating.
ironic.
And then the NCR police chief 'di ba? May mga Voltes 5 like posters or streamers, tsaka may Voltes 5 cake, 'di ba? And then I think in his office he has a Voltes 5 what do you call that?
Standee model.
Like standee.
Stand
There's a
in. Yeah,
yeah.
Sandy. Mm.
It's it's weird. It's crazy. Like I mean, yeah, I guess he's a big fan, but like
Pero gets niya ba talaga yung meaning ng show? The joke lang.
yeah, it's like
I never watched it.
culturally
Fun fact.
culturally Voltes 5 yung cultural impact ng Voltes 5 was that it was a popular show for kids sa panahon ni Marcos, and uh it was banned
Censored.
it was banned,
Ba, hindi pala censored
it
ban
wasn't
nga.
censored, it was banned, like they stopped screening it. Parang I don't know if I'm exactly correct here, pero they stopped streaming it. Streaming, wala pang streaming noon.
Streaming.
They stopped airing it no shortly before the finale. Uh, so syempre for a lot of kids, especially mga middle class kids at the time, that was their radicalization. Then when they realized na
Sobrang
grabe,
oppressive ng ano.
ang oppressive pala din, may oppressive pala yung society natin.
Yan pala yung trigger nila, yung hindi pa show,
Yeah.
diba?
And 'di ba? And I think 'di ba, don't underestimate I mean of course 'di ba? The we know that syempre yung the largest group of the population are the Filipino masses, 'di ba? But I think don't underestimate din yung middle class, because a lot of I think the majority of kids that were radicalized by that were middle class kids. Let's face it. 'Di ba? Kasi kung
Those who
if
have television
diba,
during
those
that
who are
time.
privileged enough to have television,
That's true.
diba?
That's true.
They can sit down and watch TV, diba?
In the afternoon,
Yeah,
ganyan.
so ganun, diba? They catch the show. And diba? I mean, I actually don't underestimate the middle class. They are also a sizable group, diba?
Mhm.
And so I think a lot of kids were quote unquote radicalized by the ban of Voltes 5. Kaya naging ano siya.
Symbol.
Yeah, naging symbol siya of
No,
resistance.
kasi feeling ko naman maraming binan nung time ni Marcos, pero ako even as a young kid, ang unang pagkakilala ko sa Voltes 5 is binan siya during time ni Marcos. So parang ganun kalaki yung impact niya
Yeah,
sa society.
It was one of the biggest, di ba? One of those big shows sa youth.
Yeah.
No? Like imagine if Duterte bans Attack on Titan, di ba?
Baka maraming mag-rage mode.
Titan mode tayo bigla.
I'm guessing I'm not saying Voltes 5 definitely was not on that level in Japan or in the world. But Voltes 5 was on that level, I think, in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I guess I think it's a fair comparison.
It definitely is. Like,
Yeah.
I think that we should add na to our description bakit nga gets political at some point during the conversation.
ganyan talaga
Because every
usapan.
time, I mean,
part
it
of
always
life.
leads to society, and I guess this is our music. Wow.
It's a part of
Naitay back
life.
sa team natin.
Society.
Yeah.
Yeah, ang saya lang. Fun trivia, yun nga, si Fabs din kasi lahat pala tayo dito ngayon grad student. So sobrang na-appreciate ko when we input yung mga own inaaral natin into our random topics.
Totoo.
Ang saya. You were saying, Kino.
Yeah, I was saying like that's what I completely forgot about, that we discussed about music and dance, and in a way it was a very Western discussion because we haven't even started to touch the surface based on this list, anime music, on K-pop, on J-pop,
K-pop, yeah.
on Phil-pop,
OPM.
OPM, lahat yan. We have,
OPM.
and how does that affect our music and dance? Diba, K-pop? I mean, I'd say K-pop. It's the music transcends, but also people learn the dances to it. That's why we have, the first boy band ng Philippines, SB19. There's still like a coordinated dance and the music comes along with
First
it.
boy band. Not the first boy band.
Hindi naman sila yung first boy band. More of sila yung first Korean themed siguro. Nas in intention or Korean yung
K-pop style.
Na
I guess.
nag-train sila sa Korea.
Oo.
Sorry,
they're not
18 pala ako guys. Fan ako ng
Oo,
SB19.
fan pala to si Fabs as in hardcore.
Oh, di ba?
Hardcore
Part ako
jologs
ng
to si
SB
Fabs.
group. Charot.
you watch. I watched. Oh my god! Last year, I watched. We were I watched them live. So
We were
we can,
there. Yung
we can
magkasama
say that.
tayo, di
Pagbalik
ba?
nila.
When
Yeah.
we watched them.
Pagbalik nila.
Yung,
Bumili ako ng light stick.
yung kasama ko dun, Fred, fan din ng SB19.
Sorry, when I watched them sa
Good.
UP Fair,
I like
wala silang energy.
songs.
Hala ka, Fabs, inaatake. Di ba dapat yung mga stands toxic yan dapat? Atakihin mo na si Kino.
Their songs are fun. Their choreo is standard. But I swear, when it was UP Fair, 1 a.m., everyone's like, handa na ba kayo sa last performer natin? We're like, yeah! SP90! Tapos paglabas, parang, it's like, let's meet the people. Hi, I'm Josh. It's parang, energy! It's fucking UP Fair! Tapos ganun yung energy
Okay,
niya.
hindi ma-deny ni Fabs.
Josh.
Hindi ma-deny ni
In
Fabs.
fairness, pagod na rin ako nun.
Walang defensive Fabs for her stand group.
Stand.
Hindi,
pero-
yun talaga yung personality ni Josh. Ganun talaga siya.
Okay, so na-defend niya. Na-defend
Yun
niya,
lang.
Kino. Galingan
Pero,
mo.
I mean, gets mo, yung expectation ko lang ng energy ng UP Fair. Tapos nalabas ka na parang, hi, I'm Josh. Tapos lahat parang, hi, Justin. Parang, 2 a.m., ganyan yung energy natin. Parang yung up.
I think part of it is kasi last year they were still medyo new. They were
Yeah.
they were still kind of new.
The Wikipedia page
I
says
think ngayon-
2018, so they were 2 years old.
I don't think they were very popular yet.
They were
The last year they were.
They
They
were
were
starting.
popular enough to be the last
for UP Fair.
performance
Yeah,
ng
They were
UP
ending
Fair.
UP Fair.
That's saying something.
But I think
And
now, I think
Fancy
they're better
Fabs.
now. Recently, because I really like some of the stuff they're doing. They've been doing recently. I don't really follow them, but sometimes I see them on my timeline. Ganon, no. Like I really like. Okay, since we brought up SB19, I want to talk about them then. Like,
SB19
something
fan ka kasi.
I'm not a stan, but because I
Yeah,
don't really
yeah.
listen to them. But
It's okay, Jago. We accept you. This is a safe space.
no, I'm just.
I-accept you
No,
talaga.
I'm not. Hindi, I'm just putting it out there na parang hindi ako stan. But I like them. They're
Yeah.
a nice group.
You
No, pero
appreciate
they're
it.
not
Yeah,
the
they're
genre in general is not really my thing.
Yeah,
Diba?
me too.
Pero one
The
thing kasi
K-pop.
pero yun nga, pero one thing I really liked that they did recently was I forgot what this was. Pero
Baby, have fire.
I forgot
So,
what
sila ng
performance this was.
traditional,
Pero
ano,
like they released this video, parang music video ng ilang songs nila, and they were dancing in front of yung Rizal
Luneta.
Monument, saka yung
Oo.
National Museum. Tapos
Oo.
yung suot nila were parang mga
Traditional.
local, hindi
Oh,
mo traditional, pero yung mga local
Yeah.
textile. Local
Yeah.
textile.
yeah. What I like that's what one thing I like about them is parang yes, parang sabihin mo they were trained in
Korea.
Korea, yung style nila, yung style ng music nila parang K-pop, no? But they're trying to embrace din yung pagka-Pilipino nila.
Yeah.
Diba? And that's what makes I think
I-
that's what makes them good. Din na they're not trying to copy K-pop. Diba? Parang they're in that genre, they're in that style, pero they're Filipino, diba?
I'm
Diba?
looking at the Wikipedia page.
a lot
To
of
be
indie,
fair, okay
like,
naman yung career nila.
I don't get I know some people say diba, kinokopya lang niya yung K-pop style, diba? Pero parang
Lagi namang ganun
look at yung mga band, a lot of the bands here, they're diba? It's not cultural. I think it's a genre, diba? Diba?
Mm.
Like you don't bash some of the indie bands here because because their indie rock is
Oo.
it's like indie rock in other countries, diba?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because
Totoo yan.
if you listen to indie rock from US, Japan, and some other countries, there's a style.
May
diba?
similarities, yes.
Kaya nga genre siya eh, diba?
May sound.
Mm.
Because there's similarities, but they have their own identity din.
Yeah.
Uh,
That reminds me of, I'm not sure if they're an actual group, But may nag-trend sa Twitter na yung the coconut nut naman.
Uy, alam ko yan. Yung re-invent ng isang girl group.
Oo, yung
I don't
pinanood
know
ata
what
sa
that
atin yun,
is.
Fabs, di ba?
Oo, pero natin yun.
Oo.
Is it another
I
girl
saw
group?
that.
I didn't follow
It's a
it that
different girl
much.
group.
I didn't know if
Yun
they're
pa lang
legit.
song nila eh.
I
Yun
don't.
pa lang song nila.
I know it became a meme, pero like I'm not sure kung I don't know
Hindi siya
kung
nagstay afloat sa trend,
Yeah.
I think.
Or wala pa silang follow-up.
ba yung
to
ano,
it.
yung
Oo.
MNL 48. Yun ba yun?
Ang pag-ibig, fortune cookie. Yun lang alam ko na song. Pero ibang group yun. Hindi
Oo,
sila yung
group.
kumanta ng
Japan
Coconut Nut.
naman yun eh. Oo,
Oo,
ibang group din yun.
Japan.
Sa Twitter, it says pre-debut single. So, hindi pa nagde-debut.
So,
Baka,
so,
Okay.
Don't know.
but it's enough
Okay.
that I remember them. I was like, oh, okay. Perhaps,
diba?
perhaps
Even
I'm
ako na
forgetting.
hindi masyado nagti-Twitter, nakarating sa akin. Well, may
Oo,
friends
ako
kami ni
din.
Fabs na
Na
nakaantabay, I
nagtitweet.
guess. Oh my gosh,
Star
sorry.
Magic siya.
Okay.
Sorry, nakita to eh. Star Magic pala siya.
Shout out pala sa isa pa namin kabarkada ni Fabs na nanonood, si Angelique Aganon. Ang dami daw
Uy,
niyang comment kaso
hi.
mabagal yung net nila. Hi,
Go lang.
Gege.
I-message mo
Actually,
kay...
I was trying to invite her tonight kasi she's part of PEP. Or she was part of PEP. Kaya, ayun. She's a
Ooh.
performer.
Everyone loves...
Oo. Mahal natin
ang pep.
mahal ng UP community ang
Mahal natin ang
PEP
pep.
community.
Lalo
ang
na
PEP
pep
Mahal
performer.
ng
community.
pep.
Lalo na yung nagbibigay
lalo na
ng
yung
tunog. Nagbibigay ng music. Pep.
Pep.
spot drummers. Pep spot
Courtney.
drummers.
Mga
We love
drummers.
Courtney.
We love you, Courtney.
We love you, Courtney. Wala ka dito, pero we love you.
You know what I just thought of? Kasi I don't really know much about Southeast Asian music, particularly like yung like pop, especially like pop and alternative music. Basically yung modern music ng Southeast. I don't know much about traditional music either. No. Pero 'di ba alam niyo na sa sa Europe meron silang Eurovision.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
basically like
I watched the movie recently. I'm so into Eurovision now.
I was thinking, dude, what if my Eurovision type like competition sa pero Southeast Asia?
We joined Eurovision.
Interesting yun.
Philippines joined Eurovision once or twice.
When?
Let me
What?
look it up.
Really?
Yeah, we
It's so
did.
weird.
Eurovision
Isn't that like
isn't limited to European countries. We joined.
Oh, kasama pati colonies.
colonies?
Colonies.
As a Spanish.
But I feel like
1972.
it would be fun. It would be fun for like our region kung meron din for meron din for Southeast Asia. Not even or kahit hindi lang Southeast Asia, pwede namang pwede naman yung Eastern, tama ba Eastern Hemisphere?
Oh, there's
Is that
a
correct?
Asia Vision song contest.
Or the West
There's an Asia Vision?
According to
Asia
this.
Vision.
Sarah Geronimo.
Ang hirap nun. That's like
Ang hirap.
Ang laki nun.
Ang laki.
100, that's like 100 plus countries.
Yak, bakit? Oh, wait, ang
Oh,
weird
may
ng
may fun,
artists.
Hindi man 100. Yeah.
May fun trivia pala si Gege for us. Apparently, may another P-pop group na nag-debut.
Debut.
Siya? Debut. Bagyo, yung pangalan, BGYO. Sila yung counterpart nung Beanie na
So, binibagyo
girl
sila.
group.
Binibagyo sila.
Diba? Binabagyo.
Binabagyo sila.
Thanks, Gege, for that wonderful trivia.
Thanks, Gege.
Yeah. So, diba, Philpop. We haven't even touched on Philpop. And how mixed that would be.
I was never really a fan. I
What is
was more, well,
Philpop?
in the, like, I don't know. Is it Sarah Geronimo?
Ikot-ikot.
Ako kasi mas ako eh. Mas indie ako ever since kasi hipster ako, guys. Wow, joke lang. Hindi po ako hipster or at least
Hipster.
in
Hashtag
denial
just John
hipster
things.
po.
Hashtag wag tularan. Hashtag hipster ako.
I was, di ba, when, like, back in the early 2000s, I think OPM rock was like more mainstream.
Yeah,
Yes.
That
OPM
OPM
rock
parang
was
rock.
that
big.
that was my that was basically my intro to OPM.
To
Then
OPM,
the
yes.
2000s bands and the Eraserheads because my parents were E-Heads fans.
Yeah.
That I guess that was my my gateway to OPM. And then later like sa college I got into mga indie bands.
Ngayon talaga, I'm really into rap. Yung mga basura dyan. I'm into
Flip
that.
top na, flip top. Tangina,
Top
four eyes
talaga.
ka, nakita mo ba yun?
Yeah, I like Filipino rapper. I don't really follow it. But like if there's a good if I stumble onto a good song, parang yeah, I like this
The
stuff.
time I got into rap, Jago, remember our batchmate Isabel who raps really well?
Nabanggit mo nga 'to. I think nabanggit mo siya
Yeah, we have
before.
a batchmate who raps a lot. Yun lang talaga na I really followed it.
Ako may friend ako na siguro, I mean, hindi ko alam kung may manonood dito, pero ang pangalan niya, that rapper Jetro. Tapos gusto ko rin siya. Close friend ko siya na nagre-rap na Filipino. Wow, nagpa-plug. So,
Parang
ayun.
rapper, Reese Lansangan. Woo!
Yung rap sa grammar Nazi.
Grammar Nazi
And,
rap.
like a lot like I say that a lot of my favorite music is more like indie rock band stuff. But like my number one artist, my top artist for the past like 3 years ata on Spotify has been Risan
Are you
Sangan.
serious? 3 years?
Yeah, cause I like her songs. But something that I really like about I really liked about Reese, like,
Okay.
kasi 'di ba I've seen 'di ba we you were there, didn't you were with me noon 'di ba sa route when
Which
we
one?
went it was yung isang gig ni Reese.
The one you have a picture with her?
Yeah, that one.
Malamang ako
Cause
may
her
picture eh.
her songs her songs sound really good with a full band. Then yung na-realize ko on that gig because she had like an accompanying band with her, and like the song parang iba talaga yung songs niya when they're a full band kasi 'di ba like on the Spotify versions most of them are like parang siya
Alang.
lang tsaka yung guitar,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
like sobrang iba't iba yung feel kapag may full band accompaniment yung songs niya. And I think I asked, I'm not sure, yeah, parang na I think she had an AMA before and I asked her parang, will you have more songs with with a full band in the future? Because I said ang ganda, like it was really good with some of your other songs are really good with a full band. Like it's a different experience. You're like
She
hoping
tweeted
I
at
hope
you once, diba?
huh?
She tweeted at you. Or she
Yeah, she
quote
did.
tweeted you.
Fanboy. Lumabas yung pagka-fanboy.
Level up sa stand, guys. Be a
Level
Jago.
Oo
Reese,
nga eh.
Reese, tama.
Reese, if you're watching this, 3 years ka ng top 1 sa Spotify ni Diego.
Weird. It's weird because I listen to a lot of artists, but for some reason, I guess it's cause in my playlists sa mga iba't ibang
Part
playlists
yung
ko with
songs niya.
yeah, I have songs for her in most of my playlists.
Or
Most
like,
of my playlists relevant playlists.
you
So
could listen to a lot of people a few times, but since consistently
yeah.
siya, it just keeps going
Mhm.
up.
Like I think what was this? Like when was this? I think this was 2019. 2019 was when I think two bands I really like yung Four of Spades uh
Eve of
and
Spades.
Eve of Spades. Yung
Eve of
Four of
Spades.
Spades and Muni Muni. Uh,
Ah,
I really they both released albums that
they both
year.
went on hiatus
Yeah.
this year. Ay, last
Yeah.
year. Sabay,
Oh,
almost sabay din.
And yeah, they were both like I listened to them a lot. I
Ako
listened to those
din.
albums. I listened to those albums a lot when they came out. Pero they still weren't my for some
Ang
reason.
favorite ko sa Four of Spades talaga yung dulo ng hangganan. Post unique. Post unique.
Post UD. Sila
As
UD.
in, sobrang gusto ko yung dulo ng hangganan. Sa Muni-Muni naman, it's always been tahanan. Pati, ano, Kalachuchi. Ayun,
Mahala
yun yung
Chuchi.
top.
Sa muni-muni, it's probably Sayo and yung isa. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've listened.
And the other
Sayo
one.
and ano ito?
And the other one.
Yung-
The
Oh
one
my god, I
think
actually forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot that I forgot the title of the song. Pero
Share ko lang, sobrang
yung
happy ko for them, for Muni-Muni, kasi nag-start lang talaga sila ng mga bands sa CMC. CMC tambay ako before kasi may org din ako doon. So, grabe ang saya kasi from there to where they are now, to hiatus. So, ganun, biglang nag-hiatus sila. Ba't kayo nag-hiatus? Pero, ayun. Ang saya ko na ang layo na nang darating nila. At gustong-gusto
ayun,
ko yung genre.
yung isang song, one of their songs with yung song nila with Clara Benin.
Solomon.
Solomon, yun.
Mm.
Kasi hindi binanggit yung Solomon sa lyrics. Di na. So ayun.
Yeah, I think speaking of that, I think that's the newest artist I've learned of, si Clara Benin. Kasi there was a gig, I think birthday niya. And then my friend, you guys know this. If I see an event, if I find someone to make hatak, I'll probably go. So send it to people. And like, tara,
You'll
G
probably.
tayo. Tapos I was going because of Reese and someone else, I forgot. But Reese was there. And then parang Clara Benin, like I heard her enough, but I've never heard her music. So we went. I enjoyed. I have her CDs in the car now. So I have like a small stack of CDs ng UP Music Circle, Reese Lansangan, Huling El Bimbo, and Clara Benin. Yun ang cycles through. Music's good. But yeah.
Ikaw ba, Fabs? Meron kang mga recent music discoveries? Like, or artists, not necessarily Filipino, indie, or ano?
Puro
Or sa mga rappers, sige. Sino yung pinakagusto mong
rap
rapper,
talaga.
kahit na trashy, for you? Sinong gusto mo?
Si
I
Boy Pick Up.
really oh my god. Si Alison Shore. Oh my god. Alison Shore, Kastakli, yan, mga yan.
They're here right
Yung mga nasa
now!
list na bago sa rap. Oh my god. So great. Sila lahat.
Ang saya. May actually na-frustrate ako kasi may narinig akong Filipino rap 2 days ago, tapos hindi ko mahanap. Tapos hindi ko kasi masundan yung lyrics kasi medyo mabilis. Tapos parang ako, hindi ko na na-search. Tapos parang ako, hindi ko na alam kung ano siya. So siguro one of these days, Fabs, mag-send ka lang ng random rap song sa akin. Baka yun yung nagustuhan ko Filipino rap.
Sample ngayon, sample, para matry natin.
Na kanta?
Hindi, si Emman, mag-sample ng what he's trying to remember.
Oo nga. Go.
Hindi, kasi sorry, completely nakalimutan ko na. Alam ko lang nung time na yun, nag-matter siya enough na tinry ko siyang i-Google search para ma-save to watch later at ma-appreciate. Tas, as in, totally nawala na siya sa utak ko ngayon. Pag narinig ko siya ulit, it will ring a bell. Ganong level.
Fast
Rap god.
fast rap. Fast Filipino
Ay,
rap.
ito pa pala. I also really like NIK Nick Makino.
Mhm.
Yeah, shout out kay Nick Makino. Love him. Pati si Zozo. Oh my God. Meron silang kanta. Yung Ube Biko. Oh my God. Wala, LSS ko siya ngayon. Yung
I
title
think
niya.
na-share mo to sa amin, I feel like. Yung Ube
Wait lang.
Biko.
Yung title niya kasi Ube Biko. As in yung pagkain na Biko. Tas Ube. Pero it really means yung oh baby ko. So, oh baby ko. Like, oh my God, ang galing. So smart. Art. Favorite.
Music and dance.
Music and dance. Diba? Ang galing ng topic nito.
Ay.
Sa mga UP, yung mga UP people po, hindi kayo mga elitista. Kami po ay makamasa.
Music
Mga
po
kanal.
Mga masa, English yung podcast natin.
Grabe, tags ko. English. Yeah, actually, not for this time, but I totally feel weird saying Taglish now. Especially since we're promoting Filipino as the term. Parang Filglish pa dapat.
Englog.
Englog.
I like englog.
Englog.
Let's make Englog happen.
Make it stop making
Make
Engalog.
Englog
Engalog or
happen.
Englog.
Pero hindi nga Tagalog eh. Filipino tayo dapat. So,
Ah,
Engpino.
so, Englino,
Pilglish.
Engino, Engelino,
Angelino. Hindi siya flow.
Filish.
Finish.
Finish.
Filish.
Finish. Are you
Finish.
finishing?
Bakit?
Finish him!
Oh my God, speaking of rap, wait lang, sorry. May bagong issue kasi ngayon
Ooh.
na
Spill.
yung may bagong song by Easy Mill.
Is this the
Tapos yung
Yeah,
title
Lapu-Lapu
niya
one?
Panalo. Yung trap, oo, yung trap ka rin
Oo.
yung oh my God.
I didn't look
Pinatay
into
niya
it.
si
Explain.
Lapu-Lapu. Basically, pinatay niya si Lapu-Lapu. Pinugot niya yung ulo niya sa rap. Tapos yun daw yung history. Tapos we're like, no, no,
Tapos
no.
di ba
Boy,
magiging
bro.
Person non grata siya sa
Nung
Cebu.
grata daw siya sa Mactan, sa
Ay,
Lapu-Lapu
sa...
City.
he ain't Tisoy, he's Pinoy. Something, mga ganun yung mga memes na nakikita ko eh. Sorry, hindi ko rin finalo.
Hindi ko finalo.
Kasi, hindi ko finalo kasi dami nang nangyayari sa mundo eh.
So I feel so glad that he's representing that I have that people like me are represented, the oppressed Tisoy community.
The
Pinatay
minority.
pa niya sila.
Oh,
Yun ba
yung
yun?
kailangan ng representation ng minority.
Yun ba yun? Tayo na hindi ko
I'm not
finalo
Tisoy.
talaga.
I'm Pinoy. God.
Actually, wala as in, disclaimer, wala akong opinion about him at all kasi hindi ko pa naririnig yung song.
Ako rin eh. I just
I
find
think it's a
the
weird thing to
I
blow
just find the
up.
drama. I just find the drama funny.
Yeah,
at
I
this
think it's funny too.
at this point, we live for drama because we need distractions. Wow.
They're
Oo.
making the
For my part,
distractions.
kasi it's partially because parang I don't feel so attached to Lapu-Lapu. But
Yeah.
'di ba? If you live in Lapu-Lapu, proud of Lapu-Lapu
Mm-mm.
City, 'di ba? Hero
Quote
siya
unquote
for
first
you, 'di ba?
hero, quote unquote first.
'Di ba?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Siyempre maapektuhan ka, 'di ba? Kasi
Jego,
yeah.
maano lang, meron ba tayong written history na ano, before, mga stories before Spaniards?
Written, not really. Well, may mga well, there's some records from from other parang non-Spanish, 'di ba? Parang Chinese and you have
Spanish
you have the
history.
Laguna copper plate inscription, which is dated 900 AD, and
Mhm.
it's written in old it's written in a mixture of old Malay, old Tagalog, and old Javanese. Pero it's interesting because it's an anomaly. Kasi like we don't have any other things like that ever found in the Philippines.
Yun lang.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like it's an anomaly, pero we consider it it but it's there, diba? Parang ganon.
Parang save point siya na at this point may ganitong taong namumuhay sa
Yeah, but it's still weird.
Pilipinas.
It's still weird because why
Oo.
is that the only thing? Why is that the only? Shouldn't there be more, diba?
But it's funny
So-
kasi diba, they say archaeology, the only field na once you find one thing, you can just rewrite all of it na. You're like, oh no, here's an older human remains we found. All of our understanding is out the window. The Kebs lang, because we
Yeah.
understand that
You need
it's
you need to
something
you have to
fluid.
rewrite theories and all of that thing. But pero yun. Yeah. There are naman, but I think karamihan ng
Kahit ba oral history, wala na na-preserve?
karamihan ng pre-colonial folk knowledge natin ay oral.
Puro
talaga.
oral lang, no? Na document na lang.
Yeah.
Ah,
Mga epics, ang dami there are so many epics that have been recorded
Mhm.
During the Spanish period hanggang sa relatively modern period.
And I don't know, arguably, Emman, regarding John's question, if we think pre-colonial, Jagger, you'll have to correct me on this. That's why we have the alternative scripts. Because that's proof of something written na hindi naman galing Spanish times. So, the most common we have is the abacada and the like. But you have it all across the country. So it shows that something
Yeah.
was being written before dumating ang
Mm,
Espanyol.
yeah, you have it's pero yun nga, you don't have pero there are very few actual written records, no?
Yeah. Like the information's
Pero we know
lost.
but we know but we know that the fact that ancient these
Ancient
pre-colonial
script, yeah.
pre-Hispanic era writing systems exist. It's that I think most of the writing materials used uh were not really preserved, or they were written in very biodegradable
Yeah.
materials, or
Sige, diba?
material mga ganun,
Actually,
no? And also because yun nga mahalaga din ng in many I think many groups in the Philippines uh nag are stress the oral traditions nila over the written traditions.
Mhm.
and like sort of
Mas prominent siya.
sort of tying it to tonight's topic, it's interesting because we think about now, okay, we have stories, we have scripts, but what about these ancient or pre-colonial forms of music, pre-colonial forms of dance? Was this something we were able to pass down? Was this something
I think
that's preserved?
Yes, actually.
yes,
A
yes.
lot, well, not completely, not entirely, and pero a lot of it is preserved. Like I know UP, the College of Music has basically this yung record ata, or basically yung collection nila of yung
Ethno, yeah.
of ethnic Filipino music. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think this one of the if it's not, it's either nominated or it's already uh parang what do you call, parang
National treasure.
isang hindi national pero like as in international ito, like UNESCO or something, pero parang wait,
Like
let me search it
cultural
para sure tayo.
some, yeah, so it's
Let me search it.
interesting how we preserve these things as well. It's as much as we talk about
Ito.
earlier deliberate movement, it's also something passed down and preserved na,
Yeah. I think it's preserved enough na ako may mga alam akong tribal ethnic songs pre-Hispanic times na inaaral namin sa choir
Mm.
noon pa. So, hindi naman ako aral like sa College of Music, pero may mga piyesa ako like Arimao nga na kinanta ko nung children's choir pa ako sa METCC. Tapos about siya sa si Arimao nga kinakain niya yung buwan pag eclipse. So mga ganon. Tapos na-preserve naman yung mga ganon.
Mhm.
May
Yeah.
iba pa kaming mga
So
kanta.
actually a lot of stories. Pero yung I think for me the most important are the epics. Yung epic chants.
Totoo.
actually, come to think
Uh,
of it, a lot of our epics and like grand stories are kept in a sort
Oo,
of
pati yung mga alamat.
musical, yeah, we keep it in a musical
Mm-mm.
oral history, so it ties it in together more, and that's what I've
yeah.
left it.
Yung mga epics natin they're usually chanted, no?
Mm-mm.
Uh,
And
some pero
performed.
some other stories are are sung. Pero the gist is that they are performed. No, they are
Yeah,
community events. Kasi nga
yeah.
epics tend to be the like an epic to a certain ethnic group
Pre-war.
is
Mm-mm.
considered is like it's considered a form of history. Kasi
Mm-mm.
this is it's what basically forms the identity of the group. This is how they preserve their identity and pass down their identity and their values
The next
the next
generation.
generation.
Mm-hmm.
So in a sense, it's a form of history, for that group.
Yeah. Diba? So it's
So
like
yeah,
it's
if
intricate.
yeah, and if you go ayun. So anyway, if you go to like, if you look at mga UNESCO uh cultural heritage, no, you'll find nga yung mga ibang uh ethnic music, ethnic dances and ethnic chants that are preserved or included as part of, 'di ba? As part of the Philippines intangible cultural heritage.
Mm-mm.
No, that's intangible.
Yeah, that's the term they use, intangible heritage, intangible cultural heritage. No? So kasama diyan ang music, chants, epic chants, 'di ba? Dances. So, yeah, it's interesting that yun nga, if you go to UNESCO, yung mga website nila, they have lists actually.
I have a question. What do you guys think about modernizing itong mga klase, mga lumang music and dance natin. What do you guys think about it? Should it be something to be modernized or should it be left alone and preserved as it is?
Ako, my what I tell my students about that, because I know that what's interesting is what we see this mostly in ano like we don't, sometimes we see it in music and dance, I think, but we see it, like, I think where it I think produces problems and some debates is in like textiles and clothing. Uh, I know that's an issue for some, that's like an issue, diba? Uh, what I say is that yun nga, for itong mga yung cultural heritage at industries ng mga ng mga indigenous and ethnic groups ng Pilipinas, uh, for me, at the end of the day, it is uh, whatever whatever people want to do with it. It should always, at the end of the day, dapat the consent is it's done with the consent of the group, no, the group that owns, or the group that produces this ano this cultural uh heritage, no? Kasi when talking about, say, the industries, for example, like textiles, no, uh ang sa akin nga, these started as industries, no, to that provided services, no, or not necessarily services, pero they started, they were created out of necessity at first,
Mhm.
no, and they simply evolved, they evolved for the needs of the community,
Mhm.
no, and so eventually it became a part of their identity, no, and so for me, at the end of the day, it's what do it doon siya sa community, like if they want to, if they don't want to change it, that should be respected, no, and if they want to allow, diba, if they want to allow people to ano to use it, or if they themselves want to evolve it, diba, I think it's worth having a conversation on, diba, at least, no, like, and like, for example, music, I think with music it's a lot more flexible because uh I think it's possible, because I know that there are groups that use, diba, mga traditional instruments, for example, of different groups, and they implement it into their, into their songs or even dances, diba? I guess on one hand, diba, it's for me, it's, diba, yung respect, and yung for me, it's respect and consent for me. Ako, I'm not an indigenous person, pero from my point of view, I think it's important to consider yung perspective nila, and also, but it's also, we should not be close to the idea of, quote unquote, of evolving. I don't know if I want to use the word evolving, pero for, 'di ba, altering or changing, 'di ba?
Or baka nga
These things,
even
'di ba?
using even
Because
using it.
yeah, or use, yeah, they
Mhm.
use or the use of it, 'di ba? I don't want to close that discussion because I think kasi nga for me, it's more about, it's all about consent and perspective, and yung nga, from those groups mismo, 'di ba?
Yeah,
I think it should start with them, 'di ba? Parang yun nga, you should have it. Pero yeah, it's kind of complicated. It can be kind of complicated, especially if uh yun nga, if for example, what if you're trying to ano, use something na from a group that is, let's say, parang hindi na, they're not really, it's something that they don't do anymore, 'di ba?
Mhm.
So I don't know. It's there are a lot of factors there. But for me, I think I don't want to close, again, I don't want to close the idea of, 'di ba, of using and ano. But if we have that, if you want to do that, if people want to do that, they need to, it needs to be done with the consent of the communities involved,
Mhm.
no?
I think it depends kasi like sort of I guess in terms of your criteria, the perspective,
Mm.
because it depends on your argument on where the people stand on a purist na you have to keep these things as they are. That is how we respect them. versus to understanding it's more complex. That language, like even stuff, not just music, but
Yeah.
language is changing. The problem, kasi I think, is like when comparing it to fabrics usually, especially in terms of patterns, meron silang symbolic meaning and may social class related to it. But then when we
Uh-huh.
talk about music, we go back to what we were saying earlier na in a way, the intent for that piece was to be performed. It's to be a part of a performance to make something bigger. So, ako kasi, I'm not a purist. Music, uh, yeah, maybe evolving something is not the right word. Parang, uh, bringing it into the fold of the modern awareness is fine. Kasi the reason why I think of this is I watched the recent explanation of you look at Frozen. Frozen, great movie, everyone loves the songs. But when you dive in a bit closer, they worked with the indigenous group, the Sami people, to talk about how do you do the mountain calls, yung sa Frozen 2 yung that's a whole cultural thing and it's about
Mhm.
having them respected. And it was brought into the fold with the whole concept in mind. Not that it stood out na, oh, we're highlighting this or, oh, we're gonna modernize it to this sound. But it, parang orchestra or like yung sa La
Mhm.
La Land, the jazz, na parang they're their own parts but they all work together in the same sense. So, nakakapaghinayang rin naman kasi kung nilagay mo lang sa pedestal yung music, tas walang makikinig or only in its original form. And in psych, kasi the main rule of the brain is use it or lose it. What will be the point of cultural impact kung never na siya na-appreciate whether in this pedestal form or changing it to something that it's not anymore. So it's finding that balance of change while staying true to yourself. Parang ganun.
Ako kasi hindi mutually exclusive ang preserving it in some form and also uh changing
Yeah,
Oo.
it.
it's not. It's not.
Ay,
Diba?
ako
Kasi
ano, sige, go, Jago.
pero for me what's important is, 'di ba? Kasi I think music, it's not so for music and dance. For music, no. Uh I don't think it's like it's super we need to be super rigid about it kasi nga uh oftentimes it really depends on the context, but like sometimes, 'di ba, you can use, 'di ba, it's you can use mga indigenous instruments, 'di ba, from different groups, 'di ba, uh and and 'di ba, and it produces something that's really nice, 'di ba, and new, 'di ba,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes, pero yun, I think yung mahalaga for me is when we do these things, and yun nga, and I think, sorry, and I think we shouldn't, 'di ba, again, we shouldn't be so, it shouldn't be as simple as, you cannot change it, it's really like this. Going to the yung context of these things, that these things are also the product of evolution, of they were developed over the course of history into what it is now, 'di ba? And that's why for me what's important is ano ang gusto of, uh in terms of cultural yung of music, dance, and other things that are cultural heritage of indigenous peoples and ethnic groups, no, that are still with us today, 'di ba? Uh that still own and practice these things, no. Ang mahalaga talaga ay yung consent. Anong gusto ng community, 'di ba? So if the community if the community, for example, if they're very adamant na ganito yon, ganito dapat yon, 'di ba? And it should not change from this, 'di ba? That should be respected. Oh. If the community themselves are like that, if that's what they want with their cultural heritage, that should be respected. Uh, but yun nga, if they give consent, no, to na pwede, you can or they're willing to work with you, 'di ba? Then, 'di ba? Why not, 'di ba?
May isa akong take dito kasi sa isa ko pang friend group napag-uusapan namin yung bakit may apprehension kami when it comes to PhilAm who opens their Filipino restaurant, ganyan-ganyan. Parang we were assessing kasi if we were being um ano ba 'to, parang kasi we acknowledge na nag-e-evolve din naman at saka it's them trying to own a part of their identity as Filipinos, ganyan-ganyan. Tapos parang napagtanto namin dun sa usapan namin kasi medyo mahaba siyang diskusyon na as in ina-analyze lang talaga namin na parang is this nagiging snob lang ba tayo with our food, ganyan. Tapos parang napagtanto namin na ang nag-i-irk sa amin is if we are trying to paint yung cultural stuff natin in a way na ini-exoticize siya. Alam mo yun, yung parang nagiging ganun yung branding niya na kaya mo siya sinishare kasi it's something exotic, it's something ganyan na parang pag may ganong, pag nalalagay siya sa ganong perspective na parang, ay siya, ito yung isang something, ayun, exotic thing na very pleasing to my eyes right now. Ganyan. Parang doon siya medyo off-putting for me personally.
Colonial, basically.
Oo, yun nga. Parang hindi kasi sinasabi namin cultural appropriation ba kung yung Filipino-American nag-open ng Filipino restaurant na hindi naman niya alam yung history nung ano, tapos biglang dinedefine niya yung ano niya, yung cooking niya na Filipino, tapos kulang para siya sa research. Yung mga ganun. As in, ganun yung usapan namin that
Mahirap yun.
time. Tapos,
Okay.
as in, kasi alam namin na mahirap siya. So, we were trying, ayun nga, same with how we're doing things in this podcast. We were trying to define it. We were trying to assess kung saan ba nanggagaling yung apprehension namin even with the Philippines and all that whole
Oh my
diba?
God.
Parang ganyan. Lahat
Philippines.
yun. At tas ano, yun nga, I think nag-agree kami na well, I think very crucial. Ang ganda nung dagdag ni Diego, no, na yung consent nung nagme-may-ari nung kultura na yun. Pero yun din, I think kailangan lang din natin maging aware kung in-exoticize ba natin yung isang bagay
Yeah.
o hindi.
Pero at the same time, I was really talking about that in the context of indigenous peoples
Mhm.
uh, and ethnic cultural heritage. No, because the thing about culture is yun nga uh, like tayo mga Tagalog, like I'm Tagalog, I'm part Tagalog, no, not actually I'm not that Tagalog, no, pero grew up in the Tagalog area, pero uh, like for example mga
He's
like
not ano Tagalog, he's
the
Tisoy.
major not Tagalog, I'm Tisoy. No?
Sobeloid.
Actually, hindi. I'm Ilonggo actually. Pero but I don't say I'm Ilonggo because I don't speak Ilonggo because
Mhm.
I didn't grow up there. No, so yung the thing it's complicated because yun nga
Totoo, it really
when you say oh the ones who own that's why I tried not to use the word own.
mm.
Diba? Basically uh, I didn't use the word own, diba? When I talk,
No,
I
no,
tried.
you
I was
didn't. You
trying not
didn't.
to use it because I couldn't find. I
Mhm.
couldn't remember the word, but I think bearer is a better word, diba?
Ah,
The ones who bear that cultural
Yeah.
heritage. In this
We,
case, indigenous peoples,
we call them
diba?
culture bearers as like.
Mhm. And uh, it gets complicated when, for example, quote unquote Filipino culture. Ano yan, diba?
mhm.
What is that, diba? When you have 100 plus, more than 100 plus ethnic groups in the Philippines, what is Filipino culture, diba? Can you
Mhm.
own it and can you control it,
Oh,
diba?
Yeah.
You
my
can't,
head. Diyan
no?
ako papasok. There is research on this. I have the article. I love this article. It's called Being and Becoming Filipino, which I think is a great title because it talks about this type of stuff. But I also want to say we are at 2.5.
Last na to, pero like to end
Yes,
for me,
go ahead.
pero like to tackle that about mga Philams and yung apprehension
We'll
to
invite
them
the
and
Phil
ano.
Am actually. I haven't
Like the
invited
thing
for
is,
this.
I don't think you can control and police culture.
Yes,
No?
true.
Especially diaspora
Yes,
culture,
true,
no?
true.
But I think at the same time, bilang you're connected by that culture, even if they make they it's transformed over geography, language, over changing language, and all of those things. I think there is that doesn't invalidate feelings of apprehension,
Mhm.
diba? But I don't think we should be violent about it. That's the
naman.
thing. Yeah, diba? Na parang don't abuse and harass people because of that. But like I don't think it's invalid na maging apprehensive ka or kasi yun nga, kasi you're connected by that culture and parang you see that something that is familiar to you is parang they're changing it, diba? They're making it parang,
It's changing. Not
and they're
necessarily they're
saying
changing. Yeah, it's changing.
it's Filipino, but for you parang
Mhm.
hindi ganun yung, diba? It's a conversation, diba? But at the same time, it's not some. It's I think it's something that it's something that I respect. Na
Mhm.
it happens, diba? It will happen
It's part
when
of
diba
it's part of
when
it.
people from a certain that identify with a certain culture, diba, are separated over thousands of kilometers of ocean, diba? Ibang social, economic, and historical context ng
Nung lugar na kung saan sila
lugar,
pumunta.
diba? Then so it's bound to happen. No?
Yeah.
And I think yes, people can be apprehensive about it, but it's 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 something that that's
Hindi
being
natin mapipigilan yun eh.
we can stop it, but we can talk about it.
Hindi natin siya
And
mapipigilan
we
talaga.
can come and yeah, you can talk about, but we can. It's definitely something that you can, diba? You can come to an understanding too, diba?
Mhm.
You can understand each other if you're not hostile to each other. I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
no. So ganun yun. Kasi like language changes, culture changes, it
Yeah.
happens, diba? Deal with it.
Ang
Yes.
ganda. I look forward dun sa episode na yun.
So mukhang may
TBH.
bago na tayong episode pang isa.
Yes.
So actually,
Season 2.
yeah, we're running a bit long. Does anyone have any last words they want to share for tonight? Let's
I want to
start.
leave a question. I want to leave a
Sige,
question about this.
let's
Since we're
have
talking about changing culture,
Ultra.
changing language.
Music
Since we're
and
talking about
dance ang topic.
yeah. This is what if? Pero like I was talking about diba, changing culture,
Oh,
changing
sige,
language. But what if someone uses a song to change your history?
Ayun,
Oo
ayun.
nga.
Ah,
Oo nga.
exciting,
Oh,
exciting.
Sabi na eh, Kino, sa next spiel talaga, you must put the disclaimer na it's bound to get
No,
political
it's
at
part
some
of
point.
life. Bahala sila. It's
yeah.
part of the podcast.
No disclaimers here.
Okay, sige.
Understood na yan.
Don't claim anything.
Sa pag-inuman, laging magkaka-political. Kaya nagkakasaksakan.
Ah,
yan.
totoo rin
yan.
To
yan.
be honest.
Totoo yan, hindi nawawala yan.
Hashtag
Hashtag my way.
Wait lang.
Hashtag just John things. Hashtag wag tularan.
Just chat.
Hashtag hipster ako. If
Oh
you're
my
looking at the
gosh,
stream,
guys.
it's above your name. I put it there.
hashtag defend UP.
Hashtag defend you.
hashtag oust dudes.
Oh, dudes. 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 Dudes.
Idug.
dudes.
Dudes.
I really had fun tonight. Really good topic.
Yeah,
Yung
dami
narrate
na
natin.
natutunan.
I like talking about music and dance.
See? Tas
And martial arts, apparently. And
Martial arts.
Filipino culture.
Culture and
Filipino
identity.
culture.
And identity.
And politics.
And politics.
Yeah.
And the bold Sinas and his
And,
obsession
and
with
his
Voltes
name.
5.
And his name.
But the theme song of Voltes 5 is a real banger. But
Fabs, ikaw may last words ka ba?
Thanks for inviting me.
Always welcome.
Eh,
yeah.
ang ganda ng take mo as a
Always
language person, Italian. Ano yung grad study mo ngayon?
Oh, yun. I'm studying literary and cultural studies. Majoring, or not majoring, pero specializing in comics and translation. Kaya parang, uy, naisip ko yung translation language, ganyan. Interesting. Tapos, looking forward also sa next discussion about culture. Kasi meron akong class this semester about Philippine literature in general. Parang,
Pagdating
uy,
sa class, according to the podcast, bakit nga? There's actually a course on the...
maglalabas ako ng mga paper. Magsasite ako ng mga research. Charot.
Nice. We love
Hope to see, if you want to come back next week, Fabs, you're always welcome here. Hindi pa naman nagsisiksikan sa
Yeah.
table of
If
6.
you could spend
Yun, wala pang outro. I probably should write an outro for the podcast, but it was nice hanging out with everyone. Hope I had a good time talking and listening. All the lurkers in the chat, all the people who wish they could be chatting here with us, we love you all nonetheless. And sana, kahit ilan buckets na inom natin, okay pa tayong lahat and we'll see each other next week. So, bye
Yay!
everybody!
Next
good
week.
night.
Night.